barking dogs that hopefully keep on yapping. We've got some of those top 25 matchups, best bets, maybe the deli's back open. And of course, VR is going to bring you that college football steam report. College football week 6 is up next on Bet On It. Kelly Stewart joined by VR. You guys know him as Gianni The Greek, Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas. And of course, I am Kelly Stewart. This is Bet On It College Football Week 6. And outside of the losers named Arizona and Kentucky, I'd say last week was pretty profitable, boys. So we're going to try to run it back. We're going to start off with these top 25 matchups. And VR, you are up first. A game that I have on my radar, number 16, Vanderbilt, catching 10.5 in Tuscaloosa versus the number 10 Crimson Tide, 56.5. How do you think Alabama is going to respond after beating their arch rival, Georgia?
Yeah, and I think many believe the narrative that this is a letdown spot from Alabama. I don't think nothing could be further from the truth. I don't respect that line move towards Vandy at all. I've seen the line drop, and if anything, let it keep dropping so they could give me Alabama at a gift because they're one of those teams that they're still off. I mean, they're finally in the top 10 as far as the rankings go, but I can tell you right now, I only have one team above them as far as power ratings, and that is Ohio State, the best team in college football. Otherwise, on a neutral field, Alabama would probably be a favorite in my book over every other team. A pick 'em with Oregon, but that's about it. So I really think Alabama, again, continues to be undervalued, and there's a little recency bias to take advantage of as well on the Vandy side. They've been putting up points, but that's against very weak defenses. Now they're going up against the third most efficient defense in all of college football. They're going to have a lot of problems putting up points against Alabama. That's why this total's only about 55.5, 56.5, even though Vandy put up that many points on their own just last week. So this game sets up nicely for Alabama to bounce, to come off a win against Georgia and keep it rolling. I think they shut Vanderbilt down for a bet here because I got to narrow down the best bet for the TV game. I'm going to give you the under. Let's go under. We'll grade it at, there's 56.5s available. There's 55.5 available. Let's throw 56 out there. Look to go under 56. And if this gets to 10, I think you should bet Alabama as well. But we'll grade the under 12-3 right now in college football on Bet On It. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go under Alabama Vandy. Bama shuts down Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Now, I know this isn't a top 25 game, and I apologize, but my other option was Texas, Florida. And I am so done making a case for the worthless Florida Gators. Yeah, we've already seen that one come down from 7 to 6.5. We know the wise guys are going to be on Florida, but we don't need to talk about it because I'm not going to put my hard-earned money on that godforsaken team. So we're going to go to the Big 12. We're going to talk about a Texas Tech team. Number 11, Texas Tech, heads to Houston to play the Cougars, 7 p.m. Eastern there on Saturday night. Tech coming down, now a 10.5-point favorite. Total 50.5 here, guys. And here's the real reality. We've got Texas Tech coming off an absolute throttling 2 weeks ago of Utah. Then they get a lovely bye week. What did Houston do last week? Yeah, they were in a dogfight against Oregon State, if you guys saw that on Friday night. I looked at that double digits, thought it was a little weird, and sure enough, they could have lost that game outright. But Houston is 4-0 straight up and 3-1 against the spread. Houston's last 3 games all have gone over the total. I do think that doesn't bode well for Houston, obviously, to get in a shootout with Texas Tech, who has covered 6 straight in this series. But if you look at the last time these two played, the Cougars got outgained by 89 yards. It was a much closer contest than the final score indicated. That blocked punt return, guess what? Went that way in Texas Tech's direction, and that was it for the Houston Cougars. I do think this is too many points here. It was 12.5, 11.5, 10.5. I think anything catching double digits here has me looking towards the underdog. So for the show, give me Houston plus 10.5. Marco D'Angelo, you get to talk about the other two teams from Florida since we didn't want to talk about the aforementioned Florida Gators. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, number 3, Miami, 4.5-point favorites at number 18, Florida State, 53.5. I had Virginia on my long list last week. I ended up betting them on Friday night, put them in all the contests, sprinkled just a touch on the money line. That was an awesome game. If you guys didn't catch it, I highly recommend going back to see the highlights. Florida State, as Marco might have said, could have been looking ahead here to this one. Marco, they got caught with their pants down. Now they're catching over a field goal here at home.
Well, Kelly, you just about broke the whole game down for me because that was the premise for last week. That was a client play for me. I absolutely loved Virginia in that spot last week, and it was all about the spot. We know how hard it is for teams to go on the road on these weekday games. The home team has such an advantage, one, because of travel, the short preparation time. 2, the crowds are crazy on the weeknight games. They're all jacked up. It's a great atmosphere. You got to add more value to the home field when you're playing these games. And Virginia got Florida State. What made it even worse for Florida State was, yes, they were looking ahead. They had this game next. Their arch rival, Miami of Florida, who is ranked in the top 5. How can you not look ahead? But I got to give Florida State credit. Even though Virginia stormed out to a big early lead, Florida State never quit in that game. They kept coming back in that game, sent the game into overtime, and really had an opportunity to tie it again. That was one of the most crucial, agonizing, if you were a Florida State fan, non-completion that I've ever seen. It was like time stood still as that guy bobbled that pass the entire end zone and didn't get his feet down in time with the catch. I think he caught it like 3 different times in the end zone, but never secured it. Give them credit, though. They never quit. Normally, Kelly, I would say off of a loss like that, we would be quoting our buddy Dave Koken, rest in peace, lose the same game twice. But when the next game is your rival and they're in the top 5, you're not going to have that hangover effect. Florida State will be ready for this one, and they've got an explosive offense led by an absolutely punishing ground game. In 3 games, they've rushed for 230, 498, and 258. And 2 of those opponents were, one obviously last week, Virginia, and they also ran roughshod over Alabama. And you know how high we think Alabama is in the rankings this year with power ratings. So I'm going to go ahead, take this team. I know Miami's done nothing wrong so far this year, but you know when you get to these rivalry games, you throw out the stats and give me home underdog against the national top-ranked team. And it's a Saturday night. We know that, though, except for James Franklin, we know how much that means for having a big game on your home field at night. We'll go ahead and take Florida State to pull the upset, 31-28, Florida State.
And Marco is throwing shade early in the show. You love to see it. No Mario Cristobal jokes yet. We'll see if some of those come to the surface here over the next 40 minutes. VR Steam Room is coming up next. But first, I would love, if you guys love Bet On It, to give us that thumbs up, hit that like button, give us some subscriptions here because we are bringing all of you guys every tidbit of information you need for college football absolutely free here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And if you don't like us, tell us in the comments. It's Marco's favorite part. VR, your Steam Room has been absolutely rolling. The train just keeps on cashing. I'm going to let you go. I got my pen and paper ready. Let's hear it for week 6.
Yeah, and the Wise Guy's been absolutely on fire in college football. 1 in week 0, 1 in week 1, 1 in week 2, 1 in week 3, 1 in week 4. And now let's keep it going in week 5. Here's some of the sides. And pay attention because a lot of the line moves as we move further into the season come later. Like the books get a lot sharper. The lines get a lot tighter. And a lot of the moves comes on information as the week progresses, a lot off of injuries. And finally, On Thursday, pay attention anytime after about 9 a.m. Pacific time throughout the day, you'll see the college football totals get hit. So if you're just spend the day, watch your odds logic screen, you will see a lot of movement on those totals. So let's get some of the sides out of the way. Start off with 316 Appalachian State. Opened as the dog, now the favorite. Took them at +2, took them at +1, and laid one on Appalachian State. 321 Kentucky, plus the 3 touchdowns, getting 21 there. 320 Old Dominion, -17, -18, -18.5. 325 Kansas, minus the 4.5 and the 5. 352 Georgia State, +20. 360 Nebraska, -11. 388 SMU, -16.5. 380 Houston, +13 and 12. 396 A&M, -13.5. And a total we just bet this morning, I sent out as a 3% play. Not a best bet, but worthy of a premium. 397 under 51.5 UNLV and Wyoming. So pay attention tomorrow. You'll get a lot more totals off the screen. And best of luck on college football this Saturday.
Absolutely. Speaking of Saturday, if you guys are looking for more steam from VR, he joins me every single Saturday here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We call it Last Call because then we take you right up till kickoff and you guys get all of your questions answered. And of course, any of those last minute plays from any of our handicappers on the show. All right, guys, a segment that's been doing really well. Well, the deli's been doing well too, but the barking dogs have been barking, and VR has been giving us double-digit underdogs all season long. He's got another one for us here. But Marco, you got kind of an under-the-radar game here. Could this have also possibly been a sandwich spot?
It could have been as well, but Kelly, what I'm looking at, this one is an X's and O's situation. Let's start with Army. Last week, they laid an egg at East Carolina on Thursday night. And that was a classic case of losing the same game twice with Army. Because if you remember the game before, they lost at home to North Texas. And we've seen what North Texas has done so far this year. They've been an offensive juggernaut. That was a 45-38 shootout that they lost in overtime. And we say, you lose those overtime games. Sometimes you have that carryover effect. Then they had to travel on a short week and play on a Thursday night at East Carolina. We had a client play on East Carolina last week for that reason. Now, normally I would look for Army to bounce back coming off of a negative situation, and they've got a couple extra days to prepare. But here's where the X's and O's come in on this game. I always point out how hard it is for a team to prepare for these service academies in their option attack when you're not used to playing it. Well, let's start with UAB. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Huge edge. You get that extra week to practice it. But more importantly than the extra week to practice and prepare for Army, guess what? They had the best preparation you could possibly have for preparing for Army. They already played Navy this year. Okay? So now you're playing one of these fluky offenses for the second time this year and an extra week to prepare. I can't pass that up. And then I look at this Army defense and how in the world can I lay points with a team on the road that has a defense as bad as Army's? And when you look at UAB, the one thing they can do is they can throw the football. They have thrown in their last 3 games for 321, 341, 371. And that 371-yard performance, that was against Tennessee. In what should be a barn burner and a high-scoring game, I've got UAB winning this one 34-30. If you add those scores up, I like the over as well. But let's go with UAB as our barking dog. And sorry, Kelly, it's not as big as last week's barking dog. You always give me grief that I try to sneak a Chihuahua in once in a while. But we come with a big one last week for you.
Yeah, Marco, and guess who? Still kicking themselves about not putting them in their parlay. That would be this girl. I had them in my contest. I didn't end up getting to the window with them either. Barking dogs in the deli, man. If we just agree, we're going to get rich here on Bet on It, Marco. And look, I'm going to give you guys a barking dog, and everybody's going to groan, and everybody's going to say, look at the football field behind her head, and look at the helmet on the shelf. And I get it. Just like on the NFL edition, when Marco says, guess what? I know when my teams are good and I know when my teams are bad. And guess what? My team has been bad. And I've joked about the Aer Lingus curse, whether it was Nebraska or Florida State last year and possibly this year for Kansas State. But last week, K-State had a nice get-right game, and that is because I mushed it into oblivion. I told everybody, this is the same team that lost to Army. We just saw this from Army. K-State still shot themselves in the foot several times last week, but I do think that that was a statement win. They needed that when they got Dylan Edwards back under behind center, next to the quarterback. Now we got 3 running backs back there, Blake Barnett included. That being said, Avery Johnson finally capable of using his legs. They were able to open up the running game, and that did wonders for this K-State offense. By all means, this defense still got gashed, particularly in the secondary, several times. But I'm going to ask you guys a question. If K-State, who is projected to win the Big 12 starting this year, and I said back in July, I'm going to give you 6.5 at Baylor. And if you remember right here on the show, I said I liked Baylor over 7.5 wins. This was not one of them. But I said, I'm going to give you guys 6.5 with Kansas State. You guys would have been all over this play. I understand K-State in one-score games is 0-3 this year. So that does make this a little tricky. But Dylan Edwards brings a lot more to the betting line, and I think we saw it last week. If the defense can get some stops, K-State will keep it here within the 6.5. I also have seen plenty of times K-State going as an underdog in here and winning the game outright in Waco. It's a completely different scenario when K-State is the favorite. We won't relive any of those bad memories, Wildcat Nation. All right, K-State plus 6.5 is my barking dog for this week. Let's keep it rolling. And we've got VR. Whoa. This is the barking dogs of all barking dogs.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough finding a dog because so far I got like 3 or 4 premiums to subscribers and 3 are a favorite and 1's a total. But this is just a case of fading Penn State where they're finally ranked where they should be. Now we're coming off some good dogs of a plus 150, plus 260, plus 270, and plus 410. Now I get it. This is a plus 1,500 dog, which means they need about a 5% winning the game to make it worth a bet. And I don't know. I think it's around there. The bottom line is this. I've learned so much working with sharp people around me. And the one thing I've learned from Marco are just some of those rules that always stick in the back of my head. And the Dream Crusher is one of those handicapping angles in college football and pretty much in all college sports that works. And that's when a team like Penn State, who has national championship aspirations coming into the season, is ranked exactly where they want to be and has a big game against an Oregon team that if they beat them at home, which they should do, they're favored to do, then they're, reaching their dream more or less. They're, number 1 team in the country and on their way to making the playoffs, possible national championships. Well, that dream got crushed by Oregon. Now I get it. It doesn't mean they're eliminated completely, but that was a big hit for Penn State. And we saw that they were really overvalued. They were higher ranked than they arguably should have been. Defensively, they're there. I mean, this is a top 5 defense in Penn State. So I think UCLA is going to have some problems scoring unless their run game gets going. If they stay one-dimensional and just have to throw the football, I think they're going to have some problems. But I do think they'll be able to run the football a little bit, and that'll help alleviate some of the pressure on the quarterback for UCLA on that passing game. Because, again, Penn State defense is solid. But it's the UCLA defense isn't as bad as the offense is played. And more importantly, I do think the offense is going to start to progress towards their mean. They're not as bad as they've looked. And for UCLA, that's a good thing. Again, they're playing at home. They're catching almost 4 touchdowns. They haven't won a home game yet. In fact, the last time they played at home, they were 16-point favorites and lost outright. If that's not a motivated team to show up and give effort at home, nobody is. I really do think if they show up and give us 60 minutes, the cover should be easy. Will they win the game? That's a different story. Honestly, it's worth a small sprinkle. But I do like UCLA. I definitely think they could keep it within 3 touchdowns, not 4 touchdowns. And the Dream Crusher stays alive, and take the 26 with UCLA.
Oh my gosh. If that comes through, I know you said only a 5% chance. That is going to be the barking dog of all barking dogs. And then I'm just going to say, okay, we can never have a barking dog under a touchdown ever again. Ever again. Like, I'm just going to have to write that rule for next year. UCLA. But yes, Dream Crusher spot. You know what we don't do here at Wager Talk? We don't crush dreams. Right now, we've got a site-wide special. You're getting $500 off a 1-year pass. That makes it $125 a month. Plus, we're going to give you guys a 25% bonus coupon. Right now, you're going to get all sports released, all 5% best bets, 365 days of action, plus an additional 25% off any other purchase. That gets you to right about $4 per day, guys. So check that out over at WagerTalk.com. Marco D'Angelo, we got the deli. And it is, wow, it has been great. So not only here on the show, but if you guys have missed it, Marco also does a standalone deli segment for teams that narrowly missed being in the main show Bet on It. And so those are 14-6 this season, Marco. And I think that is pretty incredible. Just for a situational alone handicap, that's 70% for those keeping track at home. So we're going to keep the deli open. But this one, Marco, this one's pretty stinky. It's got some pimento, whatever that stuff is on it. Because I texted this in my group chat when I saw you put it in the script. And I thought, should we be looking at this Purdue team? And every single one of them said no.
Well, you know what? I like being on an island by myself, Kelly. And this is a classic sandwich spot. And here's the thing. I get a lot of comments, and I love reading the comments. Kelly alludes to it. But when we do the deli, we're going to give you some ugly looking stuff because the whole premise is trying to find value and finding spots where somebody's going to look past somebody. Well, you're not looking past a good team ever, okay? The teams you're going to look past are those ugly teams. And here's the thing. Last week, we all loved Illinois. We loved the spot. Why did we love Illinois? They were coming off getting embarrassed the week before by Indiana. And in comes USC laying too many points on the road. What justified that? We had Illinois plus the points. Used it as one of my contest plays as well over at the Westgate. Now it's a role reversal. It's Purdue. You've got Illinois coming in all fat and sassy. They bounced back. They beat a USC team. Now, granted, the luster's a little bit off USC the last couple years, but for Illinois, that was the first time USC, a storied program, came to their building as a member of the Big Ten. So that was a big win. But here's where it's great. You got that satisfying win. Now you're going out on the road. But look at the schedule next week. You're off USC in a get-right win after you got embarrassed. Who do you play next week? You play Ohio State, okay, in your house. There's no way you're not looking ahead to Ohio State in that spot. And you're going to look past Purdue because they, as you said, they've been god-awful. And they're coming off getting blown out by a Notre Dame team that hasn't been playing that good this year. They lost that game 56-30. So how are they going to stop Illinois in this one? Well, all they got to do is show up and don't make mistakes. I think Illinois is going to be their own worst enemy in this game looking ahead. Last week, the sandwich spot called to take Illinois. This week, it calls to take Purdue. They're in the exact same situation that Illinois was last week. Give me a live home dog. I'll take them. Nobody wants them. That's when I want them. And we'll go to the window. This one gets decided late. Let's go with Purdue plus the 9.5. And hang around. You'll probably see a 10 on Saturday.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure this one gets to 10 before Saturday. And I kind of frankly don't blame anybody. But Marco, you are right. This is a perfect spot after playing on a team to turn around and play against them. All right, guys, it is time for best bets. VR is going to go up first. But before you get started, VR, please let everybody know what they can get from you over at WagerTalk.com.
Oh, yeah. It's been a great football season. I came into 2025 saying I think it's going to be our strongest one since 2020. And so far, so good. Comfortably at number one in college football. I think I'm 3 units shy of already up 100 units and only a couple weeks in. Currently number one in the NFL regular season through those 3 or 4 weeks and coming off a 10-2 week 4. So, yeah, information's really good right now. Again, I'm not trying to push the big games. If something warrants a 5%, we'll fire it or upgrade it. But those 4% best bets have done just as well. So there's the Saturday packages up for college football. The Sunday NFL's already up. Those are only $29. They'll go to $39 if a 5% goes in there. So get it early. And I'll also have a Friday package. Just waiting to confirm. Got some strong leans for those primetime games on Friday as well. And don't forget baseball. We started off with a perfect sweep yesterday and all best bets in baseball playoffs. Nothing small. We just fire. So head on over to WagerTalk.com and don't forget to look at the free picks. I try to share premiums each and every day.
Awesome stuff. I'm ready for your best bet in college football week 6.
All right, I'm going to keep it simple. These power ratings have supported me in having a really good college football season so far, and here on Bet on it as well. And it's as simple as taking the undervalued versus overvalued team, and this is Washington laying less than a touchdown against Maryland. Bottom line, I like looking at the rankings, and even though Maryland isn't in the top 25, if you look underneath and it says also receiving votes, you'll have it Maryland right there in the coaches poll, Maryland right there in the AP poll. Why? Because of their record. But like I said with a lot of those teams that are ranked based just on their record, as the season progresses, that's going to play itself out and the cream's going to rise to the top. Where a team like Washington, they're not anywhere on the rankings, but they're actually a top 20 power rated team. And that's exactly what I've been looking for this college football season, and that's what's produced profit for us. And in this spot, I think Washington should be greater than a 7-point favorite. They're going to bring a lot of pressure to this rookie quarterback and make him have to win the game. That's going to be a problem. I also think Washington's offense will be able to throw the ball against a Maryland secondary, which is getting a lot of hype and how difficult it's been to throw the ball against them. Washington's balanced enough. Once they establish the run, they're going to have no problem throwing the football as well. And also top 30 defense on the Washington side of the football. But again, it's on the offensive side that they have a huge advantage. And I don't think Maryland's offense is going to be able to put up much points on this Washington defense. It's a home game for Maryland. And I think that's why this one's still under a touchdown. But that's a gift. I think the true line should be much closer to -8, 8.5. So give me Washington as my best bet of the week, -6.5. And if it gets to 7, lay up to like -120, 121 to get the 6.5. But don't wait on it because it probably will get to 7.
Well, I guess on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and cross Maryland off my long list. I'm still looking for that third underdog. We'll get to the second one here in a minute. But first, we got to hear from Marco. I need your best bet for college football week 6. And of course, what you've got going on over at WagerTalk.com.
Well, Kelly, it's been a good start for our football season as well. College especially has been incredible. My 4% and 5% plays, 7-1 for the season. We lost our first 4% in college football this year. Yeah, thank you, James Franklin. Yeah, that's second reference to James Franklin this week. But we've got a big 5% going this weekend. On Saturday, I like a game a lot on Saturday. So head over there. We've had a 2-year run in football, college and NFL combined. We're number 2 at WagerTalk in Money One. And I say it all the time. If you're looking for a 1-2 punch, VR and myself, we're like the running back tandem of, the lumber and lightning. Okay. VR's the lightning. He's going to bring you volume. I'm the lumber. I'm going to have less plays, but I'm pounding the middle and grinding out, guys. And it's been a great combination with the two of us. So highly recommend signing up for both of us, guys. You'll be covered with plenty of action and plenty of winners. Speaking of winners, Texas A&M minus 14 on Saturday against Mississippi State. This is one of those classic games for Mississippi State where I'm going to pull out the old adage, lose the same game twice. Mississippi State at home last week did everything but win the Tennessee game. They battled them right to the end. That game went back and forth the entire game, went to overtime. They lost 41-34 in overtime. Now, the knee-jerk reaction is going to be when you see this number of 14 points, you're going to look and say, hey, Tennessee's highly ranked, and they played them toe-to-toe. Then you're going to look at Texas A&M and what they did last week. Texas A&M only won 16-10 against Auburn. If you just look at the final score, you don't know the whole story. That was one of the most ridiculous-looking games. So before you jump on the dog, as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. That 16-10 score, if you look at the box score, Texas A&M balanced attack. You couldn't be any more balanced. 207 on the ground, 207 through the air. They had a 414 to 177 yard edge in that game. Somehow the game was only a 16-10 score. And maybe Texas A&M, even though they had the week off and I thought that would have been a benefit for them, maybe they still did have that little bit of a hangover from the Notre Dame game 2 weeks ago, that thriller that they won in the closing seconds, 41-40. But I'm going to go here. They're going to roll on this Mississippi State team. I just don't see Mississippi State being able to stop this Texas A&M team. They will get the job done. They'll build a lead. And like I said, if Mississippi State has that hangover, which I expect, and they come out slow, once A&M gets the lead and keeps the foot on the gas, Mississippi State's going to be in trouble having to force the issue and play catch-up. That's when turnovers happen. This one gets ugly. I've got Texas A&M rolling 41-17.
All right. On that note, I guess I'm going to take Mississippi State off my long list. Yes, well, I know Marco's had a good read on this A&M team, so I will give him that. I got nothing to promote over at WagerTalk.com. Just make sure you guys give us some love in the comment section, and we're going to continue to give you guys some winners. I'm finally hitting my stride. It only took until week 6, but we swept the college football board here on Bet On It last week, and we're going to try to do the same this week. I know VR had just mentioned that they played Kansas. I think they laid 4.5, and that doesn't bode well, but that's okay because I think there's a better situation here to play against Lance Leipold and the Kansas Jayhawks here on the road. We're 1-4 in their last 5 as a road favorite, 8-16 against the spread in his tenure there at Kansas on the road. UCF looked awful last week against my Kansas State Wildcats, which we spoke about just a little bit ago. Running this 2-quarterback system is not necessarily the thing to do, but I will say this. They have a really talented running back. And if they utilize him, guess what? They should be able to gash this Kansas defense, just like Cincinnati did last week, just like Missouri did in the fourth quarter just a few weeks ago. Again, Kansas 1-5 straight up, 2-4 against the spread on the road last season. It's already starting to carry over to this season. How on earth are you going to lay points with this team? Again, I know Kansas is coming off that disappointing loss in Cincinnati, but the Knights lost a disappointing one at themselves. Getting over a field goal at home here feels almost too easy, but I do think Central Florida is going to give Kansas an absolute and utter run for their money. As I mentioned, Miles Montgomery, Jaden Nixon should be able to take advantage of this Kansas defense as well. Team to score last wins. Let's hope it's the Knights. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here on Bet On It. Let's get that recap graphic up. Marco, VR, they say thank you. They also say hit that like and subscribe button. Let's see what we got here for college football week 6. And of course, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us every single week here on Bet On It. If you have not joined the WagerTalk Insiders yet, it is only $2.99. That's going to give you an all-access look here in our YouTube channel. That means you're getting Ralph's TNA. That means you're getting the deli, maybe some free stuff from Steve Merrill. You also get a $5 coupon to use over at WagerTalk.com as well. Over 130 of you have already taken advantage, especially those looking for VR Steam Room on those Sunday mornings. We're going to give you guys all the extra perks. So WT.buzz/insiders. And of course, if you're looking for the NFL edition of Bet On It, it's right here. We got week 5 underway. And if you're looking for all of the Bet On It love, we're talking TNA, we're talking Stock Watch, college football, and NFL. Got the mega show right here.
Welcome to the NFL presidential address for week 5. If you guys have never seen the show, I am going to tell you exactly how to make money on every single game on the board. It's about 20 minutes long. It's all off the top of my head. I'm killing it so far this year. Let's get to it. Thursday night, San Francisco against the Rams. Guys, this line keeps moving. There is a ton of money pouring in on the LA Rams. 94% of all tickets so far are written on the Rams. 91% is on the over. I like the under in this game, guys, and I'll get right to it. 47 and a half. I look at the San Francisco 49ers and I think, seriously, who's going to score on this team? Mac Jones might play. Purdy might play. Either way, other than CMC, this team is extremely injured. And now on defense, they're injured as well. Although that does not bode well for my under. I don't think the Rams are a scoring juggernaut. And I think given that this is a division game and a game that might end up deciding the actual division, I think this game's going to be played close to the chest. I think we're going to see a low-scoring game. I am not going to take the side here. Plus 6.5 is too little for an injured San Francisco team, but too much for the importance of this game. Take under the total of 47 Thursday night. One of my favorite plays. Before we get going into the Sunday card, starting with Minnesota and Cleveland, I just want to tell you guys it's been an absolutely outstanding NFL season so far. My clients are 19-9. They've won 19, they've lost 9. That's a 68% win percentage, and I've made over 20 units of profit to date. I just won my last 2 totals. I am 6-0 on NFL parlays, and I am 5-1 on NFL ATS bets on the season. Plus, if you buy my package, you get ATS bets on every single game on the board. I am 42-22 ATS on every game on the board. I put that up there in my package. I'm in a pick 'em pool where I have to pick every game. You get all.
Talk Tay, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk. It is Football Friday. Buckle up, wall-to-wall, NFL, college football. Gianni The Greek's going to get us started with his team report. Teddy Covers is going to join us for Texans, Ravens, Vanderbilt, Alabama. And then we're going to do Sell Me, where we get assigned a game, we get assigned a team, we got to make the case for it. Impromptu on the spot. Marco's going to break down Broncos and Eagles. Penn State, UCLA. He's going to give us our wing sauce of the week. And then we're going to wrap it up with, Dan gave one of the best breakdowns I have seen this NFL season. Stayed away from the Rams in Survivor, avoided it, told you why yesterday. So we're going to get his actual Survivor pick for this week. We're going to go over some mega contests and super contests. So let's get started here. Let's bring in Gianni The Greek. Gianni, happy Friday. Hope everything's going good. It's Friday morning. I'm assuming it's really busy.
Forgive me. I'm just my MMA originator just sent me 2 PFL that I'm firing for him as we speak, and my CFL guys came in with a CFL play about 10 minutes ago, and more college football. So we're all over the place. It's going to be a good couple days ahead. I'm coming off a losing college football, a rare losing day in college football. We lost that Sam Houston game and the total. Fortunately, I hit the NFL game. But it was a rare loser in college football. But I do have a 2-pack up tonight, 2 4% plays. There's a handful of primetime games. Real quickly, I'll tell you what's going on with those. Saw some steam come in on the heavy favorite. Where was that? Let me pull that up real fast. South Florida at 27. Seeing some public money on Charlotte, believe it or not. That's why you're not seeing that line move way too much. It's kind of balanced now. You have some public money on Charlotte. Steam on South Florida. Delaware game, it's all one-sided on the over. They're betting the over blindly. New Mexico, San Jose State, good 2A action there on the side and the total. West Virginia, BYU, all BYU money. I've seen nothing but BYU, not sharp, just all public money. And then in Colorado and San Diego State, haven't seen sharp money on the side. Did see the over get hit when that total opened up. We didn't bet it, but another group did. And also saw Colorado get hit at 7, but saw some San Diego State also at -6. So you have a difference of opinion there. And I think that's why some books are just sitting it at 6.5, depending on what they're booking. So that's what college football looks like tonight. As we await a big Saturday, we await college baseball playoffs, and of course NFL, UFC. There's just so much. This is a great weekend for betting.
Well, let's move to NFL, and then we'll talk a little bit of UFC, some line moves, if any PFL. I'm interested if your guy has a big underdog. We got a big dog live in play for our clients today, so I'm interested we're on the same side with that one. But let's move to NFL. Any big line moves? I mean, injuries galore. That's got to be an issue. But I'm thinking the lines are kind of set in place here. I think the movement's kind of been solidified. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, 2 moves that I got down on immediately. I'll just give them to you. I gave them to my subscribers. They were 4% best bets. We took the Broncos at +4.5. That one's down now to like 3.5. So, a lot of the value's been extracted there. If you do agree with me, I think you should limit your risk a little bit. 4 is one of those numbers that matter. And I also took the Saints at a pick'em. Again, that one's now up to -2, so do with it what you wish. I just thought Giants got that big, pressure off their back by not only getting a win finally in the season, but doing so with their future quarterback, the franchise. So getting that pressure off them, I think this is a letdown spot where you still have the Saints hungry for a W. They haven't gotten a win yet. They've played some tough games. They've gotten blown out as well. I just think this is a evenly matched game. Throw in the home field advantage, and I think the Saints should be about a 3-point favorite, which is why I gave them out at a pick'em. Couple signs that I'm seeing a lot of one-sided action because sharps came in on the Lions, and now the public's coming in on the Lions as well. That's going to be a huge risk for the books. It's in the late afternoon game. There's only a handful of games in the afternoon. And rest assured, that one and the Chargers will be the 2 biggest outcomes for the books. Because a lot of the early action is going to be tied into the later afternoon action. So a lot of parlays, a lot of teasers are going to be tied into the Lions, and already seeing Charger money fading the Commanders, because the Sunday night game isn't like, you got a double-digit favorite. So even though a lot of the money line parlays and teasers for the day will be dependent on that outcome, I think a lot of the results will already be in from the early and late afternoon games, where a lot of times, like, so much of the day is pending on that Sunday night game, almost like in the UFC. I know from my sheet, there's nights, I swear to you, that I look and I'm like, wow, we're way ahead. But then what I don't realize is there's so much money tied into the co-main event or the main event favorite. So because a couple of favorites came in earlier in the card, you look up and you're like, oh my God, you have like so much risk on this favorite because of the 4, 5, 6 fighter parlays that are pending on that main event. And I think you're going to get a lot of that happening with earlier on Sunday instead of that late Sunday night game. Because again, you're talking about the double-digit spread with the Patriots and Bills.
Gianni, I brought this up. I almost just want to bet on the prelims in UFC just for that very thing. The nerve-wracking of just waiting until the co-main or the main event is just like maddening. You get like an easy prelim winner and you're like, oh my God, I got to wait 4 hours to see if the main event is gonna come through. So real quick, don't want to ignore WNBA. I see a lot of people on the unders, at least kind of in my circle on WNBA. This is a game one Marco is going to be at. Any word here on WNBA lines?
Look real fast. One-sided money on the favorite and the over. No surprise there. Vegas is going to get the money. It was like that yesterday, and now it's just even more risk on the Vegas side. I'm surprised this line hasn't climbed. Kind of a telling sign that I've seen Penny go to 3.5, but like the sharper books that I deal with, the credit shops, they're still at 3. So it's like they're almost welcoming the Vegas action. That worries me. If you're on Vegas, that would worry me. I'd want to look up and see this game go off at like 3.5 or 4 if I was on the Vegas side. So gun the head, just reading the market, I'd be on the dog or pass. I do see the respect the over's getting. I don't love it. I kind of actually lean under if this line keeps climbing, but I have not gotten involved in the WNBA. Yeah. But I can give you 2 tennis. Just make sure they haven't gone off. So I hate when I do that. No, they haven't. No, I think they did. Sorry. Yeah, I thought I had tease for you. I know, man. I thought I had some for you guys.
It's all right.
Oh, no. It hasn't started. Good. There you go. It's Yannick Hanfman plus 145, and then Felix Auger Alasime minus 167 over Tabilo, and we also did Hanfman as a dog plus 145 against Tiafo. Just throwing it out there.
It. Yeah.
You got tennis. You got to fire it.
Anything on these second round of baseball games here? I see one massive line here. Is this right? Seattle's that big of a favorite against Detroit in the playoffs?
You're seeing, here's the 2 that sticking out the most early right now. Already seeing the Yankee money. So they're fading Toronto, right away. And the Dodgers. The Dodgers over the Phils, over these Phils. And the Dodgers are favored in that series. So I wasn't surprised to see them getting that game 1 money already. Haven't seen sharp money hit the window yet. We talked about that yesterday, how they've kind of been waiting in Major League Baseball, except on the totals. If it's around that 7 where they want to get the best of the 7, you see them jump in and do it. Otherwise, it's kind of been a wait and see if the public knocks some of these lines out of whack. Because I haven't seen anything in the accounts yet. Not on series bets, not on sides or totals. Other than, like I said, I'm already seeing some Dodger money from recreational accounts, and I think that's why that line's dropping a little bit from the 120 or so down to 116 right now.
All right, we'll wrap up with UFC. You mentioned any. Do you have any big underdogs?
Canadian football. I'm about to give you guys a 3% premium play on Saskatchewan -4 over Ottawa. Just throwing it out there. Follow or fade. Just
All right. PFL, I'll give you one here. I got a plus 330 favorite that goes off a little bit later. We really like Slim to win. Anytime you get a guy named Slim, I'm all in. Slim Trabelsi over Romani. This line is completely out of whack. These guys just had a grappling match and Romani won. This is an MMA fight. There's punching involved. Slim's undefeated. Romani has faced 4 really terrible fighters, and you're getting plus 330 on this just because these guys had a grappling match. And by the way, Romani barely won that fight. He had to work really, really hard, and that's supposed to be his bread and butter. So love the 330. You like anything in PFL?
Wait, give it to me again. So you
Slim?
like Slim Trabelsi, right?
Yeah, it's going to start here in just a few minutes. So this is one for the live viewers.
Gotcha. We bet 2 favorites, man. It was my originator. He gave me Corey Anderson, and he gave me Cincy. Cincy over.
We love Cincy. We're on Cincy too.
We're in Anderson in the co-main event. Again, I didn't have time to handicap the PFL card because of all the college football, all the stuff that's been coming in, and I don't ever want to force when that's the case. I'll just wait and fire on the UFC tomorrow because I'm starting to like that card a lot more as the week's progressing. And so I'm actually gonna bet your dog right now. I just threw something on the dog. Why not?
There you go.
Not.
Plus 330 is the wrong line. It makes no sense. So, anything last second here on UFC before we let you go?
I Joe Pyfer, man. I'm seeing sharp money coming in on Magomedov, and I just disagree with it. I get it. Magomedov is well rounded. He's got the wrestling. That may give some problems, but I just don't think that Piper's going to be able to be held down, even if he's taken down.
His wrestling is not that good. I keep hearing this narrative too. His wrestling's not that good,
right?
It's not. It's elementary at best. It's because he held down Bruno Ferreira. So nothing.
And then
anyway,
I like Yana Santos over Chason. I like Yana Santos. She seems to be in a good groove right now. So I do like the Santos side there. And
by good groove, do you mean her and her husband are on all the special vitamins?
Yeah,
is that what you mean by good groove?
No, she's got that mom strength now too.
Yes, I know. When women become moms, they become stronger naturally.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll leave it at that. All right, Gianni, you got a big weekend ahead. What do you have up for everyone?
Yes, sir. There's a 2-pack tonight in college football. We're going to bounce right back after yesterday. Up about 90 units, number 1 in college football. I have a big card for tomorrow. The package that's for sale for daily guys, they're only getting 4% or better in there because I do fire some volume, but subscribers get the 3% as also. Steam Room's going to be on Sunday with the NFL. We're having a great NFL season so far. That's going to continue. 8-1 on those teasers. A couple of those will be fired on Sunday as well. So jump on board. It's a great time to join me over this month of October because we got baseball playoffs, we got college football, NFL, MMA, just so much going on. And before you know it, college basketball, NBA, and NHL will be here as well. So just keep doing damage, man. I'm looking forward to ending the year strong. And
love it.
All, brother. Best of luck to all.
Let's go Bitcoin. That's one bet I'd love to cash on. So, all right, no time to waste. We're bringing in Teddy Covers. We got a lot to go over. And Teddy, I was saying before, I had an over on a prop. And it was a half yard short, and then it goes to overtime, and it hits in overtime. Lucky, or is that just the world sending good vibes my way for the weekend? I think it's good vibes coming my way.
A little bit from column A, a little bit from column B.
Of course, Teddy just goes the realistic route and, the smart route. I get it. All right, we're going to do Texans, Ravens, Vanderbilt, Alabama, and then we're going to do Sell Me. But let's start with this Texans, Ravens. Ravens, I do you think Lamar's going to play? They tried to float this out that maybe Lamar is going to play. To me, that's a little bit smoke and mirrors. We got a lot of defenders out for Baltimore here, and the line keeps suggesting that Lamar's not going to play. We got Houston minus 2.5 at the time, over under 40.5. How do you see this game?
So let's start conceptually here. All right. There's no way right now that I can look anyone in the eye and say, yeah, take the Texans minus 2.5. The Texans were available at plus 9.5 in the look headline. Okay, that's fine. You didn't get the look headline. No big deal. They were available at plus 6.5 at the open. They were available plus 4 on Tuesday. and now you're laying a couple of points with them. You cannot make money in the NFL betting teams making bets like Houston right now. You might win one, you might win two, you might win this one, but it is a negative expectation wager. So the only choice from a side standpoint here is, do I want Baltimore or do I want to pass? And for me, that's pretty clear. I want to pass from the side standpoint. The Ravens, admittedly, they faced a very tough schedule. Okay, fine. But now they finished that portion of the tough schedule. It doesn't get a whole lot easier against Houston's defense. All right, the Texans defense is elite. They'll be playing with Cooper Rush likely behind center. Certainly the markets are indicating that we're not going to see Lamar Jackson this weekend for Baltimore, and I don't blame them. They've got injuries on the offensive line. They've got at the end of the game last week, there were 7 different defensive starters who were out with injury. All right. So whatever Baltimore was supposed to be, whatever the name, it says, Ravens uniforms, the Ravens on their uniforms. This team right now isn't that. All right. So I don't want Baltimore side. I don't want Houston side. What I do want here is the total. All right. Houston's offense is not clicking. All right. And again, you look at the final score last week. They moved the football. No, they didn't. That game was 6-0 into the fourth quarter against the Tennessee Titans. And even with all the injuries that Baltimore has on the defensive side of the football, I still grade out their defense better than Tennessee. And this isn't new or different from Houston. Yeah, they found Woody Marks last week and Nick Chubb. They want to run the football. That'd be great if they can run the football. I would expect there to be a steady diet of runs here. That said, the passing game for the Texans has lacked explosiveness. Stroud's been under pressure. Cooper Rush, not a QB that I'm expecting to make a bunch of plays, especially not early. So we can't play the side here. We can most assuredly play the total. And I think the way to go here is first half. Let's take the second half shenanigans out of the game and just go first half under. The Texans obviously 4-0 to the under. The Ravens 4-0 to the over. But Baltimore's numbers are based with Lamar Jackson behind center. The Texans have allowed 4.7 yards per play for the season. Ravens 5.7. So defensively, Houston a full yard per play better. That said, the Ravens have played a bunch of good offenses that they won't be facing one this week. Offensively, Texans are 5.1 yards per play, Baltimore 6.4. So Texans a below average offense, they go above average defense. They've been playing these low scoring grinders. Baltimore been playing these high scoring shootouts, but now they have a team that wants to play slow against them, and they're playing with a backup QB who, frankly, Cooper Rush is okay. I don't trust him to throw the football off. So my play here is under, and particularly first half under. All right. 20, the prevailing number. You can find 20.5 out there if you shop around. Look for a low-scoring first half between the Texans and Ravens under 20.5. If you can find it, under 20 is okay.
All right, Teddy. I like where you're going with that one. It's a great handicap to just focus on the first. Yeah, you're right. The second half shenanigans. Yeah, it's like taking the first half when you got a bullpen like the Dodgers, and you're like, I don't really feel like sitting through that one. So I like that look. This is a fascinating college football game. I'm really interested in your take on this one. We got Vanderbilt and Alabama. Of course, Alabama off this huge win. I mean, when you say letdown spot, like normally you're like, it's against a really bad team. This Vanderbilt team is not bad. Pretty good team. Is this a letdown spot? Do you think Alabama can pull off 2 big wins in a row? Really interested in your take. Minus 10.5. The books sure think so. Over under set at 55. How do you break this game down?
So I guess one advantage for Alabama in this spot is the fact they lost to Vanderbilt last year. And they lost to last year coming off a win against Georgia. Literally the exact same situation. And Diego Pavia lit him up and was able to move the football up and down the field against that Crimson Tide defense. So there's that sense of urgency and interest for Alabama against a Vanderbilt team that's obviously 5-0 for the first time in I got it written down here, 5-0 for the first time in many years for Alabama. Sorry, I don't see it in my notes right away. But for Vanderbilt, I should say. And, of course, the last time Vandy beat Alabama in back-to-back seasons, that was 1955, 1956, before even I was born. Well before, a decade before I was born. More than a decade. That being said, when we look at history, I'm not all that worried about Vandy's history right now. I'm not. Because this team, again, I've been in Vegas since 1998, and this is the best Vandy team that I've seen during that entire span. So even when James Franklin was there, which got him the Penn State job. Make no mistake about it, all right? Vandy's real. Pavia's real, all right? And when you look at his track record, even dating back then, again, him and the offensive coordinator have been together since New Mexico State, all right? When he took one of the worst programs in college football at the time, and where'd they go, 12-6, which is impressive. Then they go to Vanderbilt, and all they've done is win since they got there. And this year's Vandy team is different from last year's version. The receivers are better. The offensive line is better. This team can score points, plain and simple. I'm a Pavia believer, and I believe in what Vandy is doing right now. All that being said, Alabama's not looking past this team in theory this year after getting beaten last year. And Alabama's a legit national title contender. I went back, it's been a couple years now, but I went back and found the best point spread teams. What was the commonality of the best point spread teams in college football? And the commonality was, in general, the best point spread teams full season suffered an embarrassing loss early in the year, which is exactly what happened to Alabama. They got wiped out on opening day at Florida State. And what have they done since then? Win and cover, win and cover, win and cover. They may still be something of an undervalued commodity. This team is loaded. They beat Georgia last week without scoring a point in the second half of that ball game, which is, when you think about it, even more impressive. That's impressive. And now they're taking a big step down in defensive class. I had Utah State last week. Utah State came in the back door because Vandy doesn't have elite defense. And they scored 35 points, 5 touchdowns against this Commodore squad. That's Utah State. Alabama's capable of doing that and more. So, side standpoint, this game's really hard for me because they're two teams I do not want to step in front of. Total standpoint, this game makes perfect sense to me. I believe in the Vandy offense. I believe in the Alabama offense. And the fact that last year's game, Vandy won in shootout style tells me that even if Alabama gets a big lead here, they're not laying off the gas pedal. Let's go up and over the total. Commodores and Crimson Tide.
All right, Teddy's going up and over. All right, Teddy, we're going to do Sell Me, but tell everyone what you have up. We got Weekend Warrior special if you want to get college, you want to get NFL. What do you have up for clients for this weekend? Big weekend.
Yeah, and we're running good right now, guys. It's been a great week for the clients this week, 3-0 over the last 3 days. We're in action tonight in college football. I have a 5% big ticket in college football tomorrow, 6-2, 75% with the college football 5% big tickets. That dates back to 2023. I don't release a lot of them. When I do, I expect them to win. Over the last 2 weeks, 19-8, 70% all sports run, 11-4 football run. That's 5-2 NFL, 6-2 college. Last 2 weekends have been real good for the clients and I. And again, we got a 5% big ticket as part of a loaded Saturday card. We're in play tonight, and my NFL I'll be releasing in the not too distant future. We will be involved in Monday Night Football this week as well, which is good news if you want that Weekend Warrior package. And the baseball's red hot too, 13-3. MLB playoffs dating back to last year, 3-0 so far this season. I'm confident we'll be in action tomorrow, though I haven't posted yet.
All right, it's time for Sell Me. We bring in Dan. Dan picks a game, and I already see the graphic. And Andy's
cheating. Eddie, Andy's cheating. You see
that? We get a couple of good teams. How am I cheating? I don't even know what team I have. I just see the game. How am I supposed to?
The cat's out of the bag, Teddy. We've talked Super Bowl champions. We've talked, Kansas City Chiefs. So let's talk a marquee matchup here of the New York Football Giants and the New Orleans Saints. Saints seeking their first win, of course. Giants coming off of the new start of a new era. So, we're all losers for having this be the sell me pick. But, Andy, why don't you tell us why this may just be a new era for the New York Giants? And it could be 2 straight wins for this team with Jackson Dart under center. And, Teddy, after we hear from Andy, you'll let us know why Spencer Rattler is getting his first win on the year. Sell me on this NFL side, Andy. Why do we like the Giants? Oof.
I mean, listen, sometimes you just need an air freshener in your new car, Dan. Like
It ain't the Giants.
you drive your car. No, it's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson just left this stench in the car. Out with Russell Wilson, in with Jackson Dart. And listen, as we all know, preseason success equates to regular season success, Dan. We all know this is a fact. So what happens? Jackson Dart comes in and gets a win over Super Bowl contenders, Chargers. Comes in, not great numbers, 13 of 20, I believe. Did throw for a touchdown, no turnovers, but 10 carries, 54 yards. He ran for a touchdown. And in what world is Spencer Rattler a favorite? Haven't we seen enough of Spencer Rattler? He's played 9 games. At what point are we just going to say, it's just not working there? The New York Giants offensive line is not great, but Cam Skattebo is another air freshener. We got an air freshener in front and the back, the scent of Skattebo and the scent of Dart. And this is a Saints team that is 0-4. They lost by double digits, barely covering last week. How do you go from being that big of an underdog to now a favorite all of a sudden? This makes absolutely no sense. The magic of Jackson Dart, the magic of Cam Skattebo, and the Giants that already have 10 sacks this season is going to pull the, quote, upset. So give me the Giants.
Wow, the Giants. The case has been made, Teddy. And we would also be remiss if we didn't mention this is the 5th week we've been doing it. We had Steve Merrill filling in last week, and an Undertaker-esque streak has begun for one Teddy covers. Now, we'll knock on wood. I'm not trying to jinx it, Teddy, but Teddy has been on the right side all 4 weeks. Now you're on the side of the New Orleans Saints. You sweating the Undertaker streak? Why should we be betting the Saints this weekend?
So the Saints are a clear choice in this ballgame for this moment, at least. But let's start with this. Last week on every show, I talked about what a miserable spot it was for the Chargers that were coming off 3 straight division wins. They had to travel east for an early start game. And guess what? The Chargers played like it was a miserable spot. And the Giants got to win. So you have a bad team off a win. What happened to all the bad teams that won the week before? Let's see. Carolina came in off a win. They got annihilated in their ball game. There was someone else, too. Another bad team that stood out to me that came in off a win that also got destroyed. So I don't want a bad team off a win. And by the way, the Giants gained a grand total of 3.6 yards per play against the Chargers. They gave up 6 yards per play. They were outgained by 2.4 yards per play. So the scoreboard said Giants won. The box score says tap the brakes a little bit. Meanwhile, here's New Orleans. They've been in games. They've been in 3 of 4 games. They have 1 bad game at Seattle, but every other game they've been in. And look, New Orleans is going to win a game this year. They're going to win 2. They may win 5 when all's said and done, But at least 1 or 2, New Orleans is going to win. This is the game to do it. The Giants are the team to beat. Giants are the team you can beat. New Orleans are pass. Clear choice.
The bell, the fight has been done, and all the punches have been cast. Comment below and let us know which team were you sold on. Yes, it was disgusting. And we got Johnny Detroit played the Undertaker music, Dan. We don't have the licensing for that, Johnny. If we want this episode to have the YouTube revenue, no Undertaker music. But if Teddy does go 5-0, we might be able to make that up in MS Paint. Great job, Teddy. One more time before we head on over to Marco. You mentioned, I believe, you got a 5%er rocking this weekend. Tell folks about it.
Sure, but Dan, let's be real. The only reason I'm 5-0 is because you've given me those sides. So really, a 4-0. So it's on you. It's a sell me segment. I got to make an argument for whichever side you give me. So thank you for giving me all the right sides so far. You get the Undertaker music. We appreciate it. But look, guys, we're running good right now. Again, 70% across sports for the last 2 weeks, 73% with all football plays over the last 2 weeks, 75% college football big tickets since 2023. Check it out on my homepage, w.buzz/TC, or just go to WagerTalk.com. Get the 5% big ticket, get the Saturday All Access, get the Weekend Warrior package. Get on board. Let's partner up and make some money together.
Teddy covers, always fun. Sell me is like it's my favorite segment, trying to talk about good teams and then bad teams one week. Great job, Teddy covers. Running hot in baseball, running hot in NFL, college football. Weekend Warrior is a really, really good choice for the only Teddy covers. 5% best bet is up for me. It is in UFC. We also have our NFL props pack that is up. You want a little discount on our 5% UFC best bet. Use the promo code BANG10, theme of the week here on the show. BANG10, get you $10 off. We got a couple other plays that have been posted in PFL. Those are still pending. Those fights have not started, so you want to get it right now. You're going to get some plays to bet on this afternoon. And also NFL props pack is up. We hit it last night. That's 4 in a row on our NFL props that we're really, really excited about this weekend. We got some very, very bettable spots. You're going to get all props through Sunday and Monday. It's just one pack. You get all props. We're actually pretty high volume this year. We're averaging about 7 to 10 props per week. We're low percentage, but we're a little bit high volume, and I love where we're at. So really nice cash on use check. And the reads on last night's game were good. We liked Stafford not to throw a pick over 1.5 touchdowns. So good vibes and good momentum going in the weekend. So 5% best bet is up in UFC. NFL props pack is up for week 5. Take advantage, WT.buzz/AL. All right, let's bring in Marco. I'm getting hungry. Need some wings. Actually, I had some wings earlier this week. Lemon. The guy I went and had wings with, he never had lemon pepper. I was like, wow. Like, what are we, 12 years old? What are you doing, man? He was like, this is so good. It's like, yeah, that's why it's one of the most popular flavors. So we're going to talk Broncos and Eagles. I'm interested in your take on this one because I broke this game down for Teddy earlier this week, and he disagreed with me. But we're also going to talk about Penn State and UCLA. And then we'll get you sauce of the week, and we're going to talk about your episode. Yeah.
Well, before we start, I got to do something, okay? Hang on a second. I listened to that last segment. I got to get in. That bullshit that you were trying to sell for the Giants? Wait, I need another one. Jesus. Okay, all right.
You're holding Jackson Dart. You're getting the Russell Wilson out of there. You're holding the Jackson Dart.
I'm sorry, that was bullshit. I'm sorry you drew them. I don't know why Dan keeps giving you the short end of the stick, but I'm sorry. But all right, we got the stench out now. We can go on.
All I know is my quarterback's undefeated. The other guy's 0-4. I'm perfect on the season, so I don't understand what the problem is here. Props. You know you're always in good with me when you bring a prop to a show where we like talking about props. So, all right, Marco, let's get serious. This Broncos and Eagles. I had a strong opinion on the Broncos plus 3.5. I just don't think this Eagles team should be above this key number of 3 when they're struggling to blow out teams, when they're struggling to throw the ball. So, interested in your take on this one. How do you break down Broncos and Eagles?
You're exactly right, Andy. The Eagles are 4-0 to start the season, but the 4 wins have come by a combined 20 points. Now, I will point out that there was a team that did that same thing last year, the entire season, and they got to the Super Bowl. It didn't work out well once they got there, but they got to the Super Bowl with winning games that you scratch your head, how did they win them? You look at the schedule, though. Let's give Philadelphia credit. They've had a tough schedule to start. The 4 games, you start with Dallas. I know that Dallas is not, a complete team this year. We know the defense is bad, but it's a division rival, a lot of history there, and it was the Thursday night opener. Then you play Kansas City on the road. Kansas City's got Super Bowl revenge. Then you play the Rams the very next week, and the Rams are playing with playoff revenge. Then they go to Tampa. Give them credit. They had a big lead against Tampa. They held on in that one. Tampa made another comeback, and seems like that's all they do all year. But I'm going to go with Denver in this one. I just think that the schedule is going to finally catch up to Philadelphia. And my concern is what happened to the running game with Philadelphia? Last 2 weeks, they've got a total of 174 yards on just where they took 59 carries to get that 174 yards. That's under 3 yards a carry. we knew that Barkley was going to take a step backwards this year. He had to after the season he had last year. But they got to get him more involved in the game. Until they do, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Denver. Denver had, not an easy schedule to start the season either. They had an easy one in their first game, and they struggled with it. But they finally put things together last week. I like the defense of Denver. I think it's stronger than Philadelphia's. And we always say, if I can get the better defense getting points, I'll go ahead. And the one thing we got to avoid is we need the Bo Nix we saw last week, not the one we saw the first couple weeks. Keep it a clean game. I think Denver goes into Philadelphia and wins it. Give me Denver plus the 3.5.
I agree. I could also make the case. I think a loss for Philly might actually be good for them long term. They've been kind of skating by. You get a loss, kind of rallies the locker room. I think it reeks of an upset here. So, all right, let's go to Penn State, UCLA. Penn State off the tough loss. UCLA just a sacrificial lamb here in this game? UCLA, not a great year so far. How do you break this game down?
Well, when you first look at this game, the knee-jerk reaction that you would expect from me in this game, because I talk about it all the time, when a team loses a big game like Penn State had last week. I mean, let's face it, that was a monster game against Oregon. You had two teams in the top 6 going at it, and you would expect that hangover effect the following week. You could throw in the lose the same game twice theory. You can also throw in for Penn State, although with only one loss, they're not there yet, but it's close to it, the dream crusher whenever you're out of it. They're not out of it yet because if they run the table, everything will be okay for them. So rather than do the obvious and take UCLA and, plus the points because you expect Penn State to be flat off of that loss, I went back and looked. And James Franklin, he's got an MO. We talked about, unfortunately, the bad MO, which is when he plays a highly ranked team, he shits the bed. I'm sorry, are we allowed to say that? But that's what he does. I got air freshener. We can clean that up. The other situation is whenever he loses a game like that, he's a bully in the next week. I went back and looked since 2022. So we're going to small sample size, but it's the most recent bias. The last 6 times that he has lost a high-profile game, he had 2 of them in 2024 when he lost to Ohio State. He lost to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Then they came back and won their playoff game after that. When they lost to Ohio State during the regular season, they came back and beat Washington 35-6. They won that playoff game against SMU 38-10. Went down the list. 5 of the 6 games they've won the following week. He wants to be a bully. He wants to flex his muscles. So do I want to lay 24.5 on the road traveling all the way across country? No. But what I am going to do is go with the team total here. And he puts up points after he gets lambasted for not scoring points again in a big game. He's got to show that he can do it. And what are you going to do? You're the bully in the schoolyard. You're going to kick around the little kid. Well, that's what he's going to do here. I'm going to take team total Penn State over 37.5 on Saturday, and that is the play for me in this game.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely. James Franklin, front runner. Just lay the hammer against bad teams, trip up against the good one, rinse and repeat. I keep saying this. It's like we do all this research on college and NFL, and then how much is it just the same every year? Like, why do we do all this research? Bengals can't protect Joe Burrow. Houston has no offensive line. Eagles just figure out a way to win. So, all right, it's time for the wing sauce of the week. Before we get into the wing sauce of the week, tell everyone what you have up for clients. I know you got a big play coming, and you've been running really, really well. So, tell us about that.
All right, we've got a 5% coming this weekend. We are 32-14 with those since February of 2024. We don't release a lot of them, but we do win them when we release them. So we got one of those this weekend. Also want to tell you about the Weekend Warrior package. It's been a hit at WagerTalk. If you want to pick your favorite capper, that would be me. You would go ahead and grab the $49 package. You'll get all of my plays in football Saturday and Sunday. And if I have a Monday night play, you get that as well. And it's $49. Guys, last week we went from Thursday to Monday. We had a 9-4 4-day run there. And if you want to take it out further, because you want to get the baseball plays, you want to get my WNBA plays, and I get a lot of grief from guys busting my stones about my involvement with the WNBA. It's okay. You know what? I can't hear you. I'm too busy counting cash when you guys are busting my stones. With it, I'll continue to roll there. If you want to jump on board a 7-day all access, you can do so for $77 if you use coupon code MD77. And a shameless plug, got to check out Bet on It. You know, we've got the mega edition of it with everybody on it. And included, guys, I have my separate video. I do Marco's Deli every week. We've been picking 5 games a week, first 4 episodes, all winning episodes. We are 14-6 against the spread on that show. Get 5 more plays this week. Check out Marco's Deli. That's about all of the promotion I can do, buddy.
All right, let's talk some wing sauce. You've been extra spicy today. You've been bringing the heat. What wing sauce and what team are we talking about this week?
Well, we're not talking about a team. We're talking about a coach. And I'm going to keep the theme going. James Franklin, enter the building. This is your favorite wing sauce. Plain. Nothing. Okay. First 6 drives of the game on Saturday. Drive number 1, 3 and out, net 5 yards. Drive number 2, oh baby, 12-play drive, netted 32 yards. 12 plays, 32 yards. We got a field goal out of that. All right, way to go, Jimmy. Drive number 3, 3 and out, net 3 yards. Drive number 4, 11 plays. Net 24 yards. 11 plays. How do you get 24 yards? And then it's halftime. Okay. Second half, first 2 drives. We come out in the third quarter, man. We went in. We made the X's and O's and all those adjustments at halftime. We come out with a 9-play drive. 39 yards. Got nothing for it. And then drive number 6, 3 and out, net 1 yard. Okay. So you had in your first 6 drives, through 3 quarters, we're entering the fourth quarter, 104 yards of total offense. Yeah, give me that big plate of plain wings, okay? All right. Then when we got to the fourth quarter, you know, he got a little excited there. He reached for the salt shaker. He put a little salt on in the fourth quarter just, you know, to get a couple touchdowns. This guy, I just picked on him all week. That's the wing sauce, plain for you, James Franklin. And then you know where he went after the game? He went to the Penn State Creamery to have dessert. Yeah, you know what ice cream he had? Vanilla. And they asked him if you want it in a waffle cone. He said, "Oh, hell no. Just put it in a cup, please." That's it. I'm done.
We get ice cream as well as wings. Now I'm really hungry. It's really good, Marco. Plain wings for James Franklin. I got to go back and make a note of all of these wings and who you compared them to. We're gonna have quite the list at the end. Marco D'Angelo Weekend Warrior Special, only $49, and use that promo code to lock up Marco D'Angelo for a little bit long time. Great show, Marco, and you always make Football Friday absolutely fantastic. All right. Dan, come on in here. The call of the season so far, as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't just that you laid off the Rams. It was that you broke it down why. And then you also just threw out Tonjes as a touchdown scoring prop.
And he scored the first touchdown, too. He was plus 2,800 to score. No, it always feels good. And, yes, Wolf, I'm glad that you cashed because – this is what we do, Andy. You know what I mean? Like we try and entertain, but at the end of the day, especially with some of the free picks we give away for folks here, you know, when we help people cash, whether they're clients or watching the show, we so appreciate it. And literally all that we ask you to do, hit that like button, comment below. If you haven't already subscribed, tell your friends to subscribe, help us keep growing the channel. And if you want to thank me, I saw Wolf was like, well, How can I thank me? Well, buy Andy's play, use Bang 10. That would be a way to thank me. Let's do that. Ride with Andy in UFC. And then I do a show with my friend Adam Rosenberg. Each and every week, we give out our 5 circa picks. We went 4-1 in back-to-back weeks. We're starting off a new quarter here. Our goal was to be in contention for 1 quarter. It's our first year doing it, so we're not going to be like, oh, we're going to go and win the whole thing, one of the hardest contests in the world, that and the super contest. But if we're in contention for 1 quarterly prize, that's the goal. So we're starting off. The episode drops every Thursday. So if you want to do that, it's called Let's Make Millions. If you search Circa Millions WagerTalk in your YouTube, you're going to find it. That would be a way to thank me, is watch that show, comment below on that one as well. But we love cashing for the folks.
Love cashing. All right, you want to do Survivor first, and then we'll do the mega contest here.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Oh,
your
yeah.
Your favorite graphic.
I love it. This is the only reason why I want to survive, is so that we can keep this horribly done graphic alive.
I'm sure we can find some contests we can rebuy in if we get eliminated.
No, that I saw our friend Dave Mason, who was under the weather but good enough to tweet yesterday. I saw that he was he posted, "Hey, for those of you who lost with the Rams, don't worry. Our second chance survivor starts tomorrow."
Yep. He's running them every single week. Dave is. So
exactly.
All right, so you laid off the Rams in the Bet Online contest that Dan and I are in. 30%, 29% of entries got eliminated. We talked about we hadn't had that bomb that eliminates a third of the field, and we got it last night. So now you've got some options here, and I'm curious where you landed.
So I was kicking around, going with Detroit on the road. I think there's a better spot to use Detroit here coming up, so I wanted to hold on to them. Buffalo, we still have alive as one of our picks, but divisional game, I don't like that in primetime games. It was partially the reason why I said, hey, folks, maybe we look elsewhere. So, Andy, I'm doing it. I'm risking it. I'm going with your Indianapolis Colts. Well, we see him as 7-point favorite, so you still have a touchdown favorite, a large favorite, and the Raiders. Everything went right for the Raiders last week, and they still lost. Like Ashton Genty looked like Bo Jackson, and they still lost. And part of the reason why he looked good, if you actually look at the splits of Ashton Genty when he was running to the left, running to the right, all of those big runs that he had were right behind the ass of his big left tackle. Their left tackle is out, done. He's not going to be playing this week. So when you saw Genty come alive, and a lot of folks are probably going to try and chase that and bet his overs, things like that, I would pump the brakes on looking for Genty to go off. And if he's not going off, Geno Smith kind of looks like Geno Smith again. This Indianapolis Colts team would be coming home riding a 4-game win streak if it wasn't for Adonai Mitchell and dropping the ball as he was heading into the end zone. You would have a 4-0 team with wind in their sails
holding
instead.
Penalty. Poor guy.
Exactly.
By the word.
Exactly. They lost that game. The Rams didn't win that game. And I'll be honest, Andy, I was kind of a Colts hater heading into it. You got to show me. You know what I mean? They showed me last week that they deserved that win. Now they're coming home with a full head of steam against a Raiders team who I think we kind of know who they are. We thought, hey, what are we going to get out of Pete Carroll? So Colts for me, Andy. What are you thinking for yours?
The biggest favorite that's left from our card is the Lions. So, yeah, you mentioned the Lions. And then I think a sleeper entry could be the Texans. I know Teddy wasn't a big fan of them, but how much has changed with Lamar out. Kyle Hamilton's not practicing. This is just not the same Ravens team. Yeah, they're wearing the same jerseys, but it's just not. And again, you're going to have to take some chances. In order to win, you got to get 18 right, which means you got to pick 18 NFL teams to win a game. So I think a sleeper entry really could be the Texans. And at the time of recording this thing, I just don't see many people that have picked them in our contest. So Texans.
One of the things that I toyed with too, and I talked with you yesterday, I was like, dude, I really like the Saints. And sorry to destroy the sell me segment, but I really think the Saints are going to win this week. But now that it's week 5, I feel like that's a shot that you would take if that's a week 1 or a week 2 game. You know what I mean? Now that I have a favorite that I do like at home, maybe I don't risk it as much. If I had multiple entries, I would throw one of them at least in New Orleans. I like New Orleans quite a bit this weekend.
Okay. All right. Well, post in the chat if you guys are still alive in Survivor, post who you like. So RJ says Andy giving Texans so people can get eliminated.
I know. We have Papa Giorgio, who's a WagerTalk insider. We really appreciate that. We're over 125 insiders. You can join. It's just $2.99 a month. You get a $5 coupon. You get early access to videos. You get access to some of the Steam rooms that are only for clients. So more reasons than ever, just wt.buzz/insiders, $2.99 gets you in. But Papa Giorgio says, I'm still in the Bet Online contest thanks to your picks. So maybe, Andy, we shouldn't give these anymore. I'm sorry. We love you, Papa Giorgio, but I want to win the Bet Online contest.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. Yeah, we're here to help, but not that much.
Yeah. We're supposed to be fading our picks. Come on.
Let's go to let's do the mega contest. I have a mega contest line that's doing very good. So here are my picks for this week. Jets plus 2.5. I just don't trust this Cowboys defense. I know the Jets have looked bad, but I don't think Aaron Glenn and this team is that bad. I think they put it together. And what's the best way to get your offense on track? Play the Cowboys. I'm sticking with my guns on the Broncos plus 3.5. I love your Eagles team, but I hate to say they're due, but they're kind of due for a loss here. And again, I think it might be best for them to get a loss on the record and get that out of the way. Texans minus
Andy,
1. Yeah.
Just one thing to say on the Eagles here is, yes, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan through and through. This is the first time in the Super Bowl era that the defending champ has started 4-0, but lost 0-4 against in the stats. They've been outgained in every single game that they've played. So what they're doing is historically an anomaly. And I think this is a team that really stylistically matches up well with them. So I also just wanted to mention to you, this one came from Ralph Michaels, and it plays into both the Giants, why I'm kind of fading them and fading the Eagles. Teams who have a divisional look ahead coming on Thursday night. So the Eagles and the Giants play each other on Thursday night. Those teams with that look ahead spot since 2016 only cover around 33% of the time. So it is a really bad spot for the Eagles, really bad spot for the Giants as well. So just kind of backing up some things that we were talking about earlier there. Interesting stat from Ralph.
Texans, I got them at -1 in the contest. They're up to -2.5. So I'm still just, it's basically, get them to win. And then I'm with you on the Colts here. I think the Raiders team has just been terrible. And Geno's been, you said back to Geno Smith. He's been worse than previous versions of Geno Smith. It's been
looks
tough.
like Jets. He looks like Jets Geno.
Yeah, bad. And then I got a bet going with Justin about the Lions to cover. The bet is if the Bengals cover, then Justin gets a free 3-day pass. Lions cover, he gets to buy one next Friday. So I got to put the Lions. I got to put the Lions in here. I got to put my money where my mouth is. So, all right. Andy, you need a dog, not a puppy. Add Pats +9. I just can't take them on the road. That's the problem. I don't like
Bills
them
haven't been
on the
great
road.
against the spread, laying these kind of numbers, though they didn't cover against the Saints. I mean, dude, the Bills survivor pick was in jeopardy last week.
I know, but they did win by 12. It just happened to be that the line was like 12. So, or the line was like 13.5. So we're getting a little bit less than that one. So, all right. And you want to pull up the graphic? We're going to track this for the rest of the season here. Our best calls and worst calls. Dan. So yeah, Andy and Dan's best NFL calls. Dan is on the board with his best call by far, calling a shot why he didn't take Rams in Survivor Pool. With everyone injured on San Fran, he says coaching history, and it goes out to fruition. Mine is definitely first week predicting the Bears' defensive touchdown on a bad out route throw from J.J. McCarthy, who promptly throws a bad out route. Easily my worst call was in a survival pool. I picked the Falcons and they lost 30-0 to the Panthers.
Tried to warn you, Andy. I did say
trash. It's just trash. It was my worst one.
We'll have plenty more going on that right side, I'm sure.
Yeah, yours is coming. Yours is coming. You're gonna have one up there. So, all right, great football Friday. Special thanks to Gianni Teddy, and Marco for making Football Friday awesome as always. Once again, guys, I have a 5% UFC best bet. Use the promo code BANG10. Get you $10 off. It includes all of our UFC plays for this weekend. And NFL prop pack is still up. We're 4-0 in our last 4 picks. So you're going to get every one of our NFL props. Excited for a big, big weekend. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment below. Tell us if you like the Giants or the Saints from our Sell Me segment. Good luck on your plays this weekend. We'll see everyone Monday. Take care.
We've got barking dogs that hopefully keep on yapping. We've got some of those top 25 matchups, best bets. Maybe the deli's back.
4-1 last week, 4-1 the week before. That equals 8-2, and you're getting 5 free picks in the NFL coming your way right this second. It's Let's Make Millions. Dan Alexander, a.k.a. Newbie, joined by my better half, Adam Rosenberg, a.k.a. Berg, in the house. Brother, we cautioned people. We said a little bit bumpy start to the year, but once we have a little more data to draw on, this is where you and I shine. We have an 8-2 little run that we're on here to show for it. We'll recap here right at the top before getting into our week 5 NFL picks. 5 picks, if you never joined us, is what we do each and every week. It is our entry for Wooder and Wawa. That's the name of our entry into the Circa Millions pick. And back-to-back weeks, buddy, not only have we had 4-1 picks, 3 of the dogs that we like won outright. And we said on the show, sprinkle money lines. If you've been tailing, you've been cashing. We're sitting at 11-9 on the year. That's good. We're in like the 800 range. So we're within striking distance. 1 on Atlanta outright, 1 on Jacksonville outright, laid it with Detroit. Brutal loss on the Raiders. We led the entire time. This isn't a bad
blocked field goal, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
but it's funny because as Eagles fans, you see the Eagles stuff on there. You see the Phillies hat on. Happy Red
that's
October
not the Eagles.
to
That's
everyone.
the Eagles.
Oh yeah, that's the full
different
adept. That's AI slop, full Adeptify Eagles. So yes, that put some respect on the full Adeptify Eagles. Yeah, you zoom in, you'll see what we're talking about, along with that janky ass Eagles logo. But as Eagles fans, like, we gotta win on a blocked field goal, against the Rams, getting a cover in that one. So now the blocked field goals they taketh away. But dude, the bigger story is every single week, every single game, we're seeing blocked field goals. Like, the regularity with which this is happening, it is no longer an anomaly. Like, blocked field goals are back. And I don't know what teams are doing differently. You heard Jordan Davis a couple of weeks ago after that blocked field goal. He was talking about like launch angles off, like next level analytics are happening to get these field goals blocked. And it's where I'm not like a big, like, nerdy stat guy, but it's pretty badass when you're talking about like launch angles, like you're the Philadelphia Phillies on how to block field goals. So analytics, it's cool when it's in practice like that. But Berg, super happy about what we've had going this week. I'll tell you guys, you just look across the card here. This is a tough week in NFL. I think it's going to be a tough Survivor week. I think it's going to be a tough Pick'em week. So a couple of these plays, Berg, you and I went back and forth. I had picks that I liked that you had pushback on. You had picks that you liked that I had pushback on. And the cream rose to the top, and we selected what we think are the best possible 5 picks you can make on this week's board. And with that being said, Berg, might get a little gross here as we're breaking down week 5 in the NFL. But look at that card. It's just a disgusting card. You got like Texans 2-point road favorites against the Ravens. Like what year is it that is a spread that we're talking about? Of course, all the injuries and also the fact that the Ravens have been dookie butter is what leads you at this. But this is a disgusting board. Would you agree with me? It's landmines all over this thing. And a lot of these hooks, I think, are what you're going to be winning and losing by this week.
This is another reason why you and I were meant to do this together, and why we're best friends. Is I was about to say, look how many of those lines have hooks on them. When the best line on the board is a flat 10 with the Lions,
it's
tells you everything you need to know.
A flat 10 as a road favorite.
As a road favorite.
And you're like,
oh yeah, that seems easy. That's
a great line.
Everything else is hook. Yeah.
So let's get into this disgustingness that is this card. If you've never joined us before, guys, we really appreciate you checking us out. If you've returned, like our friend Julian Alvarez, 1629.
Shout out to Julian.
Shout out to him. He dragged us in the comments. It was hilarious when he made fun of us and said, we're fading all your picks. I loved that comment. Loved the comment even more when he was just like, all right, guys, I rescind my former fade and I'm riding with you guys. We love the comments. We're in them every single week. Keep them coming. Whether you agree, whether you disagree, we love those comments below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It goes a long way to me and Berg being able to bring this show to you for free each and every week. Now, with that being said, probably some picks that you don't even want for free. We can't give some of these picks away because we're starting off in this Dallas Cowboys and New York Jets game, 10 a.m. here on the West Coast. For Berg back east, it's going to be a 1 p.m. start, excuse me. Look, there isn't probably on all these gross dogs on the board, Berg, is there one that is grosser than a team who just got absolutely embarrassed on Monday Night Football? Yes, we are taking the New York Football Jets. And this is one that you brought to the table that started my ears perking up, Berg. So I'll let you lead off on why we ended up taking this 2.5. Will be like a 3? Sure. You can chop around, maybe find one. But for the contest line, I still am fine taking this 2.5 against the Cowboys team that I think we both have a lot of reasons to be fading. But what arrived you at this one? Because you brought it to my eyes, and then I couldn't agree more.
Is this how many times can you say something's a kitchen sink game? So I mean, look, a
lot.
The too long didn't read. You have a winless team that's only laying that's getting 2.5 at home. That's sort of like from a sharp line read perspective that the line screams Jets. But when you get into the practicalities of it, this is the Dallas team that I think played a pretty emotional game on that Sunday night. They went to full overtime for that tie. It was a back and forth game. They also, and I sent this to you earlier, we're just going to kind of go through. They came out of that pretty banged up. So they're probably going to be out without their wide receiver 1, CD Lamb. They'll be out without a wide receiver 3, without their wide receiver 4, without their backup running back because Miles Sanders left. Their left tackle, left guard, your center, guards. Everybody's Guyton's injured. A lot of these guys are injured. Not necessarily they might play, but definitely not everybody's at 100%. I think that it's a really good time on a team like Dallas to sell high against the team that looked like Dookie against another
on national television.
On national television. Both of these teams on national television looked polar opposites. Also, the Jets, when you get into the nerd stats, they actually it's usually a couple breaks here and there that kind of run the opposite way for them. They are still on the defensive side of adjusted line yards. They're still top 10, which for you nerds, that means that their defensive line is doing a very good job of preventing running, which I like to hear.
And you see that. You see that almost week after week. Yeah.
Javonte Williams has never been an efficient runner. I do not buy whatever is going on right now.
Looking good.
Yeah. But I mean, he also, did he do anything last year? That was kind of, maybe I'm just a little bit bitter about that. But yeah, this Dallas team does not have a good secondary, and nope. I'm not saying that Justin Fields is a world beater with his arm, but we did see in that first game of the season against Pittsburgh when he was able to take those spots that were up to shooting up at safeties and taking advantage of weaker secondaries. The Steelers do have a weaker secondary, so this is a Jets spot, and I'm going to be on the Jets money line, and I'm ready for that pain. But look, man, we're Eagles fans. We don't need a reason to fade Dallas, but I think we have a couple here.
Not only do we not need a reason, it makes a hell of a lot of sense because Russell Wilson, the week after looking like he was back against Dallas, threw away a pass on 4th down, and he's never going to play again, barring any injury. Anyone can throw on this Dallas team. So, yes, spare me all he does is run. He can't go through his reads. Spare me that. Because Berg, I would trust you going under center for the Jets to at least complete a pass in the NFL against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a crazy statement to make, but that's how poor this secondary has been. And I think also because it was on national TV, because of what the final score said, this Jets loss on Monday Night Football, national embarrassment, they outgained Miami by 100 yards. It was not as bad as the final score indicated. The thing that killed them was penalties. And that's why Aaron Glenn was mother effing people up and down the locker room all game long after that was done and all week long. So if Aaron Glenn wants to instill any chance that he's going to be the head coach for this team moving forward, he's not going to get fired in season, folks. But this is a spot where he has to clean up the penalties at home against a beatable Dallas team, or else this front office is already going to start looking at job applications. He knows that. That is on a head coach to have your team prepared to not be taking penalties. And that was the difference maker against Miami. It wasn't running, wasn't passing. It wasn't anything other than the fact that penalties continued to kill him. Last thing I have on this one, Berg, and then we'll move on because I think we hit this one pretty hard. Dallas, historically, in recent history, yes, it's a new head coach, but he's a head coach who's been with them. A lot of the players are the same. You actually lost a lot of talent as well. In recent history, when Dallas starts off a road trip, this stat coming to us from Mark Lawrence, they are bad against the number. 1-5 in the first game of back-to-back road games. So if you think about it, this is a team that mentally is saying, all right, we're going to be living out of our suitcase here a little bit. Let's try and start off on the right foot. They just don't. They look ahead to the fact that they're going to be away from home for 2 straight weeks here. So 1-5 ATS run. It makes sense to me. Back-to-back road games, those road games against the Jets and Panthers, I could see Dallas coming in here saying, we just scored 40 points against one of the best defenses in the NFL. This is the New York Jets. They come up a little bit lax. If the Jets get up and they can just run the ball down your throat, yes, Braylon Allen missing hurts a little bit, but Breece Hall, he can catch. He can run through the center. I'm taking the 2.5 with Jets, Jets. And Berg, sprinkling on that money line, baby.
Of course.
Jets.
The last thing I'll add is, they went the full length of that overtime too.
Yes.
So that's another quarter. That's basically another quarter of the game.
On.
So it's not that they was won in the first 2 minutes of that overtime. And I was looking at this injury list. It looks terrible. I like Turpin, and Turpin's out. So there's that is not ideal. That is, especially when you're about to go on the road. They were staying at home, but you just played a little extra. You're on Sunday night, and then you're doing this? No. We're going to go with the Jets.
Yeah. Last thing, notable offshore as well, is hanging a 1 on this game. Caters to a lot of sharp bettors, hanging a 1 on this game. Do with that information what you will. And after shitting on the Dallas Cowboys, Berg, everyone from Dallas is clicking off, it's probably just from random places since most Dallas fans aren't from Dallas. But they're clicking off the video regardless because
they got the starter jackets, though. They got those.
Yeah, they got the starter jackets. This is very true. But they're just clicking off the video and saying these dudes are birds homers. And in that ilk, we will go to the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Denver Broncos. And Berg, man, I love our Eagles. But let's be real about the fact that we have been outgained in every single game that we have played this season. And arguably, we've been outgained by some pretty large margins. So the fact that this has happened 4 straight games, that has never happened in the Super Bowl era, where the defending Super Bowl champion has been outgained and gone 0-4 in the stats to start their defense. But all they do is keep winning, man. But you and I both, we've been kind of like hoping, hey, we know our Eagles aren't going to go 17-0. What's the spot to finally fade the Eagles? We toyed with it being that Tampa Bay game, but all the noise about them, they always lose in Tampa Bay, this, that, and the other thing. We said, let's just hold off that spot. The number also didn't work for us. It just didn't make sense. I think, Berg, this might be the spot where Denver just really matches up well with us stylistically. So we're taking the 3.5 with Denver. This is a really bad spot. I have some trends that allude to it, but also if you just think about what's happened with the Eagles, the AJ Brown stuff, I think that's overblown. But this is
I definitely think that's overblown. I like his response, to be fair.
Yeah, 1,000%. He shut it all down, as he always does. He does this every 2 months, and everything's fine.
He's a competitor. He likes to play and he wants the ball, but he doesn't make it all about him. Like, that's it. We're not going to make this about
AJ Brown over receptions this week. That's a no-brainer. But I just think this is a really tough spot against a really good football team, Berg. So I'll hit some of these sexy trends towards the end. What made you and I, the first time we have talked the Eagles on this show, we are betting against them, Berg. Hurts my heart, but it ain't about my heart. It's about our wallet and us winning this quarterly prize.
So the 2017 year, how many times did you and I probably get up? This is like 2 years before we even became friends. But before we would get up, we'd watch that team with all their injuries and say, this team. And, they'd have these great incredible moments where they're winning things. That this year they're having some of that, but it's not necessarily this team because we're already at the top of the mountain, so it's sort of expected. In fact, what's happening is luck is breaking our way in an incredible manner, specifically with one of the most high variance portions of the game, special teams. Blocked kicks, as we had mentioned before. We've won a game on a blocked kick.
Started off a game
on a blocked.
Dude, that was 3 straight possessions that ended with a blocked kick. That's insane.
Unreal. We won a game on a CD Lamb drop. So the thing is, and then a little bit of information that came out this week is that the Eagles long snapper, whose name escapes me because all I think in my head is Dormos, who was our longtime snapper forever,
Rick Lovato,
core surgery, out for probably the season, I would imagine. Long snapper is a Ryan George Kramer famously described it to me 10 minutes ago as a hilariously important part of the lineup.
It really is.
Well, it affects the field position. I'm already not a huge fan of our punting unit to begin with, and I don't want some guy who has never been long snapping with this team doing that and jumping in. Guys change it up and do whatever. It is a small portion. It impacts field position, but you're impacting field position against a team led by Sean Payton, who absolutely loves to control field position. They play slow games. They play methodical. They play high percentage throws. A lot of underneath stuff, which Eagles, frankly, aren't very good at intercepting. They're not very good at plays to they have not been good at plays to the running back this year. They have not been the only thing they are good at is plays to the tight end. So I'll probably take some Ingram overs or unders. So also you're just getting a bad line at home for a team that is, quote, this hot. Again, we talked about the hooks earlier. I don't want to lay 3.5 on an Eagles team against a Denver team that you and I have exactas on them to play each other in the Super Bowl. It's a team we do have some respect for. They seem to have righted the ship. They looked really good actually against the Chargers, other than then kind of things changed obviously at the end. They took care of business against the Bengals. So coming into the link, and you'll talk about it a little bit. They have a couple look ahead spots here, but gonna fade our birds. This is the spot. We finally drop one.
Yeah, and even though 69% of the money, I mean, this was a 4. FanDuel's still hanging 4.5. So if you like Denver, go over there and bet that now. This thing won't drop. This thing won't drop below 3.5 though. 3.5 is the contest line. That's what it's going to close at, folks. Because they're not going to allow the buyback on the Eagles and have a field goal for the Eagles. Potentially pushing their bets.
They've already had this BS for the last couple weeks with them. They're not going to deal with it again.
No, it's sitting at 3.5. This is just an awful spot for the Birds. And I alluded to that. This is a textbook look ahead game. And I got a trend from Ralph Michaels, our buddy over at WagerTalk, wt.buzz/RM. It plays into both this and the game we're going to talk about next. And it's basically a double fade spot for us, for the Eagles and the Giants, because teams with a divisional look-ahead game coming on Thursday night, this is when the Giants visit the Eagles this Thursday, or this coming Thursday, only 33% of the time since 2016 has that team covered the spread. So divisional look-ahead on Thursday night, Eagles and Giants both fit that mold. Nearly, what would that be, almost 70-some% that you're going to be covering if you are betting against that team. Well, it's only the Giants. That's not really a look-ahead spot. How about Nick Sirianni and the Eagles in this era, 1-5 against the spread the game before they play the Giants? So spare me the it's only the Giants shit, because Nick Sirianni has this team looking ahead to the Giants. It's 1-6. Or 1-5, excuse me, where there's fire, there's smoke. Sean Payton, it's a new team, sure. 3-0 against the spread versus the Eagles in his coaching career. That doesn't really matter as much. That's good Barney at the bar stuff. But here's one that I think does matter, Berg. And it is the Eagles' kryptonite since that Super Bowl run that we were robbed of when they were going to kill Tampa Bay at home. It's 20 degrees. There's no way that cold weather team in Gruden is going to beat the Eagles at home.
Going back to that, I don't need to hear about the JoJo Vicious game again.
I know. I'm sorry. But following the game that the Philadelphia Eagles face off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, whether it's on the road or at home, 0-10 against the number. That is a hammer stat from our man. That is our hammer stat from our man, Mark Lawrence, a sexy stat, if you will, Berg. And we'll leave it at that.
Very sexy stat.
Yes, very, very sexy. Do the Eagles lose? Maybe. But even if they win, it's going to be tighter than a field goal plus the hook. It's going to probably be by a field goal if they win. I don't know if I'd sprinkle.
Yeah, it'll be like a 2-point game. Because someone's going to do a 2-point conversion, because Sirianni will try to do a 2-point conversion and
fail or whatever, or Peyton
or
will
if we
pull
get
out a bag of tricks.
You want to talk about more special teams nonsense? Maybe a safety to open up the game.
Yeah, or a run back. They get a pick, run it back. I mean, it's crazier things.
We should probably bet on safety. We should probably bet on a safety in the game. We know that's
defensive special team score. I will be betting on in this game for sure. That's going to be an anytime touchdown for me. That's a no brainer. The other one for me is AJ Brown over receptions. Not sure what the number is, but they're going to force feed the guy. It's just what they do after the you already saw it. Once he complained in week 1, they did it in week 2. Vice versa. It's going to be the same exact thing. Or once it was week 2, week 3. You know what I mean. So all right, we talked about basically the half of this handicap, and guys, we're halfway through the show here. Comment below. Let us know what your 5 picks are. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree. Are we batshit crazy? We are, because we're laying 2 with the New Orleans Saints. We basically broke down why we would like to do this, talking about that look-ahead spot for both the Philadelphia Eagles and for the New York Giants. But in this one, let the line lead the way, Bergie. -2 for a winless Saints team? What are we doing here? All the money has poured in on New Orleans, and I absolutely get it, Berg, because this is a winless team versus a team coming off a big win. They're so reinvigorated. Dable and Jackson Dart are nearly making out at midfield because they're so excited together. I don't know if you saw on Twitter.
That was really hot. That was really hot.
Yeah,
it might upset people politically, but it was very hot. It was great. I love that competitiveness. Like, it was hot, hot football action. That's what it was.
Yeah, that hot, sweaty man football action.
Yeah, man, that was Dable's a bear. We could tell. It was great. I don't know, man. Madison Beers probably had to watch the whole thing until Justin Herbert. Why can't we be like that?
Anyway, why can't we? Why can't we have that? Back to the act. Yeah, I want what they have. But this is a winless team, quarterbacked by Spencer Rattler, who's laying 2 against an invigorated Giants team, or newly invigorated Giants team coming to town. Oh my God, all these rookie sensations. Jackson Dart looks amazing. Berg, you watched the game too. You saw the stats too. Was Jackson Dart really that amazing? No, he made really good decisions, but the numbers weren't all that great. And yes, you have Malik Neighbors going down. That's the best player that they have on their team, who is no longer with them. So if you want to take your shots finding Wan'Dale Robinson overs or Darius Slayton overs, which guy is going to be his go-to guy, we're going to find out in the next few weeks. But coming off of what was one of the biggest wins for the Giants in recent history against a really good football team in the Chargers, we argued that was a horrible spot for the Chargers for what it's worth. Now they're fat and sassy. Oh my God, the new era has begun, and they have to take that era to one of the loudest places in the NFL. Whether the Saints are good or bad, that dome is always rocking. Because Caesars, they're pumping in sound there. I'm joking, but here's the thing. They're going indoors, and you're like, oh, what does that really matter? For whatever reason, why is it that Brian Dable can't figure out how to get his team solidly to play indoors? Games in domes under Dable, 1-6 against the number, the New York Giants. Add in all this rookie stuff. Add in this is Jackson Dart's first road game. New Orleans Saints win this game. They probably win this game by 3 or more. Lay the 2.
Yep. And look, all the things that you had mentioned. Look, again, I started off with, you and I don't always subscribe to look at the sharp line stuff, but a winless team laying 2, the conversation's over.
Let the line lead the way.
63% of the handle, 25% of the bets. Like, this is very much a New Orleans screamer. Am I excited about it? Not really. No. Do I think the Saints actually play a lot better at home? Yeah. Did they play up against the Bills last week? They also did. They scored first against the Bills last week. They scored with them in that first quarter. They kept up with them. Bills didn't cover and weren't able to actually pull away. So something that you notice, and now they're back at home. This is a team that's rebuilding. So when you do stuff like that for teams that aren't meant to compete and do that, they bring it home and they do something with it. So I do think that this game's going to be, I think this game's going to end up being a track meet. If you're looking for other things on this, I mean, you have 2 college style quarterbacks. I would take the over. This is a very low line for both of these teams. We're going to, take your Rattler over rushing, take your Dart over passing, take, what else do we get? Shaheed longests, all of them. I think that's going to happen. But I
Longest
do think that the
reception.
Saints come out of this one. Saints have made our card. Like I said, man, it's a winless team laying points. That's a slam for us.
Yeah, and if this was 3, we pass it on our card. You look at a notable offshores hanging 2.5. There's ones out there. This thing is all over the place. But the one thing that it hasn't done is flip back towards the Giants. The New Orleans Saints are winning this football game, as disgusting as that sounds. Lay the 2 with New Orleans. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat says we're betting on the effing Saints? Dear God, Berg, we are disgustingly dumpster diving.
I mean,
all right,
last week was pretty bad.
But we loved that card. And
2
we
weeks
went
ago.
4-1.
Did we have the Titans in our card 2 weeks ago? Totally forgot.
Yeah, that one wasn't great. We don't have to talk about that. We don't talk about.
By the way, if you
Titans.
eliminate that 1-4 week, we're 10-5.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And
Keep
if
going.
if my aunt had nuts, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's do another kind of gross play, but it makes sense here, Berg. And this is the one that you brought to the table that I couldn't have any pushback on, which is why it's on our card in a week that we find it really tough. Adding the extra hook on, it's a little bit tough for a team into the Seattle Seahawks, who's taken on a Buccaneers team who was the flavor of the week before they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. You brought this one to me, Berg, so I'll let you lead the cap and I'll fill in where as needed. We're laying 3.5 at home with a team that we've had a really nice read on, the Seattle Seahawks. I think every game that we have bet them this year, we have nailed on them. So we're trying to make it 3 correct picks on the Seattle Seahawks as we're laying it at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pick number 4 of 5, Berg. Why are we on the Hawks?
They are, well, you want to get nerdy about it. This team is top
do.
6. Then, well, they're 6th in offensive DVOA, and they're 1st in overall DVOA on defense.
Talk
they
DVOA
are
to me.
2nd in DVOA for passing, 3rd DVOA for rushing.
I'm getting the vapors.
Banged. McDonald was the defensive coordinator for a Ravens team the last time they played defense, which was 4 years ago. So more on them. Well, actually, they didn't make our card, so no more on them. But I like this. I like the Seattle team. They're off the Thursday night, so they got a little bit of extra rest. Tampa's flying all the way across the country, extremely banged up with Bucky Irvin. That was a
after playing
game
100-degree game. That's partially why the reason why we wanted to fade the Eagles.
Rumor is former Syracuse standout, go Orange. Sean Tucker is going to get some reps. I love that. But going to be with Seattle. I'm going to keep riding Seattle until they give me a reason not to. This is one of the most difficult places to play. I went up there for multiple Eagles games to watch them lose them, and it was a miserable experience. I can't imagine being a member of the Tampa Bay Bucs and going to this game. So for me, I get that we have the hook here, but this Seattle team might be good. The metrics say they are, and the eye test is saying they are. So I'm just going to keep leaning into it. I think with the way Tampa's all banged up, combined with what this Seattle defense has been doing, I think it's not a good spot for Baker, especially when you look at the Eagles beat this Tampa team with their defense not playing super well. This Seattle team has not let down on their defense in any of their games and has been able to put everybody away.
And they have to travel all the way across the country after getting to stay at home for 2 straight weeks. So this is kind of a shock to the system kind of game after you also just lost your first game of the year. And everyone was talking about heading into that game how our Eagles were a fraud 3-0. And we laid out the case for how sure that may have been true. But in the same breath, they talked about how amazing Baker Mayfield has been and, how incredible all he does is win at the end of games. Still, he had to come from behind, game-winning drives in all of their wins, and that finally bit him in the ass when he threw a pick in the end zone to Philadelphia. And that's what happens when you're constantly playing this win-from-behind game. It bites you in the ass, and now you get all banged up, coming off a really physical game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Bucky Irving's walking around, as you alluded to, in a boot and crutches. And Seattle, their most recent home game, I don't care if it was against the Saints. We just laid out how the Saints maybe aren't as horrible as the 0-4 record maybe indicates, and they beat them 44-13, and it wasn't even that close. So really bad spot here for the Bucs. The 2 wins that they have, come from behind victory on the road against the Texans offense, who was hapless to start the year. Bush League win against the Falcons with some crazy calls, and a Falcons team who just kind of pissed down their leg at the end. I wish it was 3. Don't get me wrong. But Seattle's not going to let this team creep back into the game. Like
yeah,
the
that's my
Eagles did
biggest
last
thing
year.
is I'll lay a hook. Yeah. I'll
if
lay
I
a
knew-
hook with a good defense.
If you told me, yeah, exactly. If this was 3, this is a no-brainer. If you told me Seattle wins the first quarter against the spread, I would tell you this is a no-brainer, lay the 3.5. So I have no pushback. I have no devil's advocate that I can make for Tampa Bay other than the fact that they've done really good to close out games. I think that finally bit them a little bit against the Eagles. I think it continues to. Seattle, lay the 3 and the hook. Shop around so you can only lay 3. Actually, notable offshores, we're seeing a 4 already. So the Rogue 3, yeah, the Rogue 3 is at the blue book. So if you want to get it now because it's minus 124. It's 3.5 by Friday morning. No brainer. So if you want 3, lay it now for contest purposes. We're laying the 3.5. We have hit the 30-minute mark and have one more game left to go, my cohort.
Thanks for sticking around, guys. Thanks for sticking around for 30 minutes of our nonsense.
We actually have a really good retention rate. Like I know
we probably
talk about
do, man.
Talk about nerdy
you get two
analytics.
Guys.
People watch this show.
45-year-old Jewish guy with a 30-year-old. It's exactly.
People watch this show and stick with this show, and
this stuff. Yeah.
We so appreciate it. Hop below in the comments and let us know what you like that we do, what we should maybe do a little bit differently, and we will promptly ignore those.
Halloween's going to come up. We'll definitely do the show in costume.
I might do a Coach Steve. Might do a Coach Steve.
That's so funny because I always dress as I do Steve. I do Ted Lasso for Halloween.
So we'll just do an all Steve affair.
We'll just do it. There you go. Yeah. Done. We'll just lean into
what do you know? Back to the type of boat. Jay's mom. All right, here we go. Detroit and Cincinnati. This is the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do we just lay it with Detroit every single week until they tell us not to?
I think Detroit's really good.
Yeah, I feel bad in this game and really this season for Jake Browning because really the year that he came in for Joe Burrow, he was pretty damn good. What was it, a year or 2 years ago? But this offensive line that is in front of him right now, Berg, is the worst I have ever seen. There was a play on Monday night where the offensive line, Denver rushed 3, and the offensive line decided to quadruple team one of the rushers and leave the other 2 just free to absolutely crush Browning. It is brutal. But here's the thing, is it's not Browning's fault that Cincinnati gave up 217 yards after the catch on Monday night, and now they have a short week against a team who looks to blow everybody out. I have some amazing ATS records here from Mark Lawrence that I'll give at the end. But Berg, this was the one that you came to me and you were like, dude, we just lay it with the Lions. I mean, it's double digits in NFL. It's gross. It's tough, but this should be 14, not 10.
Yeah, this Lions team, again, I always say it's real simple. They're really good and they don't play cute and they're able to cover the big numbers, and Campbell's petty, which I love. I love a petty coach who just pours it on. And
starting to win me around a little bit.
I love him.
Now that the coordinators that I didn't like are gone, I'm kind of becoming a Dan Campbell guy.
I'm a big Dan Campbell guy. Dan Campbell, if I were, another 100 pounds of muscle and 5 inches taller, I'd be Dan Campbell as a coach. It's I love that pettiness. So we're gonna lay it with Detroit. We also got a great number. As I said at the beginning of the show, we got a flat 10.
This should be 14.
Right.
It should be 13 and a half, 14.
Or even make it 13 and a half. Fine. We got a great number on this. This is a great number on a team that is against another team that has Jake Browning has shown us that he cannot. That first of all, Jake Browning needs to have Mike Callahan send him a thank you note for getting him a job in Tennessee through that 5-game stretch that he threw for 1,000 yards, because it's the only reason why he has a job. But because we've now seen the real Jake Browning, in spite of those weapons, they're not able to move the ball. I don't know how they're going to do that against Detroit. We already talked about how their defense is not very good. So give me Detroit laying 10. Scary favorites are okay for us. We've taken some sick dogs, but scary favorites are okay for us in the circuit.
And I'll have it for next week. I'm going to have Ralph Michaels do a query on double-digit favorites in the NFL, because I think they're actually pretty damn good in the modern era. Here's what I have on Dan Campbell. This dude loves beating teams up. I mean, it's well documented. And also, teams that don't get to see the Lions and play the brand of football that they play, so this is out-of-conference teams, he whips the piss out of him, especially when it's the second game he gets to face two AFC teams. 6-0 against the spread in the second of back-to-back non-conference games. And it makes sense. That's Dan Campbell has you ready to play, and he's going to punch you in the mouth. And are you expecting a letdown on the road? Oh, they're going to look past the Cincinnati Bengals. It's just the Bengals. They're just going to look to get out of town. No, Dan Campbell doesn't look to just get out of town. How about the fact when this team goes on the road, Berg, 20-5 against the spread run that the Lions are on in their last 25 road games. 20-5 in their last 25.
Nuts,
they've
dude.
covered the
That's
number.
nuts.
And they have laid numbers in that. That's not a big enough sample size. What, 25 games isn't big enough for you? Okay. Mr. Dan Campbell, how about the fact in his coaching career, Berg, 28-15 against the number on the road. Road warriors are what this team does. They cover 65% of the time, over 65% of the time under Dan Campbell in his tenure. Lay the 10. Don't even think twice about it. We're laying the points with Detroit until they give us the reason not to, Berg. And that will round out our card here in week 5. Let's look. Let's inspect. Full of depth
It's
of
not
5
that
Eagles.
gross. It's just it's tough. It's tough.
It's kind of gross, but I think I wrote all the picks correctly. The recap here for you folks. New York Jets, Jets, Jets plus the 2.5. Denver taking the 3.5 in Philadelphia, fading our Philadelphia Eagles for anyone who thinks we're just homers. New Orleans laying the 2 against New York Giants. New Orleans gets their first win at home on the season. Seattle, we're laying the 3 and a hook, reluctantly, but doing so against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we are laying the lumber to round out the card. Detroit in a screamer spot, taking on Cincinnati, lay the 10. And Berg, that does it for us. I mean, 5 minutes for that last breakdown. That was pretty damn good since we spent 15 minutes on the
I
first
get to go get my kids at daycare, take a kid for a haircut. My son who has yet to be into the Eagles, but my daughter, who's all she does is talk about the Eagles. So that's
Go Birds, indeed.
go
Except
Birds,
this
go Birds.
week.
She says Eagles all the time.
Go Birds by 3 or less this week. By 3 or less.
Yeah, actually, that's fine. Yeah, you know what? Here it is. Eagles 21, Denver 20. There we go.
I won't be shocked if they lose this game and lose to the Giants. That's what I'll leave you with, Berg. And
That's fine.
We'll circle back to that one. This man beside me is Adam Rosenberg. You can follow him at Hey Rosenberg. I'm Dan Alexander. You can follow me at Newbie Talks. Folks, comment below if you haven't already. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe and let us make millions. We will see you for week 6 when Berg and I both have a road game. We'll see where we're recording from next week. We'll see you then, folks. Thanks.
We've got barking dogs that hopefully keep on yapping. We've got some of those top 25 matchups, best bets. Maybe the deli's back open. And of course, VR is going to bring you that college football Steam report. College football week 6 is up next on Bet On It. Kelly Stewart joined by VR. You guys know him as Gianni The Greek, Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas. And of course, I am Kelly Stewart. This is Bet On It College Football Week 6. And outside of the losers named Arizona and Kentucky, I'd say last week was pretty profitable, boys. So we're going to try to run it back. We're going to start off with these top 25 matchups. And VR, you are up first. A game that I have on my radar, number 16, Vanderbilt, catching 10.5 in Tuscaloosa versus the number 10 Crimson Tide, 56.5. How do you think Alabama is going to respond after beating their arch rival, Georgia?
Yeah, and I think many believe the narrative that this is a letdown
in
spot.
London. Get up early Sunday morning. It's awesome to have football on that early. Minnesota, of course, in a very unique situation, having played last week against Pittsburgh in Ireland, now traveling over to London. They lose that game 41-21, but it was turnovers. They were -2 turnovers in that game, finishing with a 372, 313-yard edge. Just one note on that game. You know, I read something about the Vikings. The GM decided that he'd prefer to go back-to-back in Ireland and London instead of having to go at Pittsburgh and at Cleveland playing outdoors in inclement weather. So very smart move, I think, on their part. Obviously, they didn't get the first leg of that. We'll see what happens this week. I'll have best bet for you in just 1 minute. With the Browns, big news there. Joe Flacco out, Dylan Gabriel in. And, Dylan Gabriel came in, threw a few passes, got a little experience, played a decent amount in the preseason because Flacco didn't play and obviously other quarterback injuries. We look at the Browns and we know they have the best defense in football, bar none. Not only have they held 3 of the 4 to a season low, on the season, they are number 1 in the NFL, and they are holding their opponents to 122 yards per game under their average. Well, let's take a look. What does that mean for Minnesota? Well, Minnesota's offense is averaging 294 yards per game. If the Browns hold them anywhere under their average, it's going to be a low-scoring, close game. I look at Cleveland. They start the season against Cincinnati, have a 186-yard edge, -2 turnovers, miss an extra point, miss a late field goal, lose by 1. They go to Baltimore, a very misleading game, 41-17 final. They again had a yardage edge, plus 80 yards, but they were -2 turnovers. Guess what? Against Green Bay, they were even in turnovers. Yes, they were down and they made a late comeback. They finished winning that game 13-10. And then Detroit, only outgained by 28 yards, -2 turnovers again did them in. Well, guess what? You're not going to win many NFL games turning the ball over, being a -2 turnover differential in 3 games. Joe Flacco with a 2-6 ratio, and that's why we make the change to Dylan Gabriel. Listen, with this Browns defense, all you need is a game manager. I know Dylan Gabriel doesn't want to be put in that mode. They're going to run the ball. It's going to be play action. They're going to improve their sacks, no question. Flacco, no mobility in the pocket. He's been sacked 9 times this year. That will help the O-line as well. The rush attack has struggled for 85 yards per game. Junkins has added some fuel the last couple weeks. He leads with 49 carries after missing the opener and maybe the second game as well. So they finally have a bell cow back to go to. Big, strong guy, can carry the rock very often. When I look at this game now, I look at Cleveland. Even though they're 1-3, they're actually a number 11 in the NFL, plus 53 yards per game. Minnesota with a better record at 2-2, but only plus 12 yards per game. Flacco, as I said, a 2-6 ratio and a 5.1 YPA. Listen, if the cornerbacks don't have to worry about a deep threat, that really can help them stack the line against the rush attack. Dogs that have scored 18 or less in 4 straight games, this sort of surprised me. 196 and 133, 58%. And dogs off a road loss by 21 or more points, 75 and 51, 59.5% against the spread. Minnesota, a very slow-paced team. Now with Carson Wentz at quarterback, came in last week. They are averaging only 56 plays per game. In the game at home against Atlanta, for example, they ran 40 plays. I don't know how many NFL teams have ever ran only 40 plays in a game. Minnesota, slight edge on offense. Browns, significant edge on defense. Yes, it's a rookie quarterback making a first start, but it is an unusual setting. I think that actually helps them. There's no pressure in front of the home fans. It's not the same attitude as going on the road and having to face a hostile crowd. The crowd will be split. I think it's a great situation for him to get his first start. I am going to grab the home dog in this. Total 36. Again, expected very low scoring game. Cleveland getting a full field goal in this role has me with the Cleveland Browns for the Sunday morning London game. Guys, just a reminder, the Weekend Warrior, only $49 for all my college football and Sunday NFL. Number 2 in college football and NFL since the start of 2024. I do have a college football 5% loaded for Friday. So if you want that Friday play included, check out my 3-day all access. And by the way, My teasers in the NFL 4% and higher, 9-1, 90%, and 16-2. The last 18 teasers, I will have a 4% teaser NFL best bet for Sunday. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and make sure you're following WagerTalk on all their social media networks. Enjoy this weekend of NFL action, and make sure to check out my other videos.
welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, transparent, yesterday was not a good day for myself. I had 3 MLB plays. I went 1 and 2, so I took a little bit of a step back there. That would make me 10 and 5 in the MLB playoffs. So got to pick it back up there. There's no games to talk about here today, but yesterday was not successful. Vino, was it any better for you? And it's good to be back with you today.
Good to be here, Ski. I had a not all MLB, but I did also have a 1 and 2 day. The college football play that we gave here as the best bet was the win. New Mexico State team total over. They got to 37, so that cashed. I did have a small play on the Rams first quarter. They were never really in the game as far as covering anything is concerned. And I also had the Cubs Padres over, which stayed under. So I too had a 1 and 2 day. All 3 bets were equal. So, we lost a little bit of change yesterday.
Yeah, we'll get it back today. And man, Vino, I told you off air. I mean, I'm doing a lot of celebrating. I mean, you and our birthday is on Sunday, so I guess I'm getting started early. But my sister got married yesterday, so it's been a lot of festivities, and it's been a very good time. I'll just say that I've had a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I brought this tequila and pineapple for us for our birthday, but for your sister's wedding too. I think, hey guys, if you're watching and you want to join us here, happy birthday, Ski, and congratulations to your sister. Very nice. Little wager talk first for us.
Yeah, let's it gets me going. You know how a little tequila gets me feeling. All right,
put us on the winning track.
Yeah, that's how we get back on track right there. Justin Coolin looks like he's ready to talk some WNBA, talking about some line moves. Kylie Reynolds also ready to talk it. So I appreciate you guys in the chat wishing us happy birthday and congratulations to my sister. Appreciate you guys 1000%. All right, let's get to some actionable info, Rob. We usually do ladies first. We'll keep that going here today. We have WNBA Finals Game 1. That is 6-11, 6-12. Phoenix Mercury heading into Las Vegas to take on the Aces. And this is on the move right now. I mean, that's what they're saying in the chat. Well, the side opened up 3.5 favorites for Aces. Is 3 or 3.5, depending where you shot. The total, though, I have the opener I don't see an opener actually. The opener is not listed. I think the opener was 158.5, if I'm not mistaken. And now I see 162s popping up on the board. So Aces coming off of that 5-game series versus the Fever. Last game, took them to overtime to pull away and get the job done. For the Mercury, they've been sitting waiting for a little bit. They got their series over with the Lynx in 4, so they have the rest advantage here today. I believe it's 4 days to 2. This is, I believe, the number 1 playoff defense, I think, versus the number 1 playoff offense so far. So with it being at home and everybody's running to the window and thinking it's going to be that high scoring game, pushing it all the way up as high as 162 right now, Ravino. Do you think they're pushing this one in the right direction?
Yeah, I wasn't even so sure at 160 that it was the right direction, Ski. They've played 4 times. Let's start right there. Las Vegas won 3 of the 4. The only time they didn't win, Asia didn't play. So with Asia in the lineup, they've beaten Phoenix 3 straight times. The last 2 coming mid to late August. So they're not that far back. And the totals, Ski, in those 4 games, a couple of them way below what we're looking at tonight, and a couple of them over this number. One hit 165, the other hit 169. So oddsmaker, the number's probably in a really good place right here. You're asking for, I guess, doing the math here, like an 83-80 game. It's not impossible, and it's the first game of a series where sometimes they get a little looser in the first game and tighten up as we go along in the series. So I can kind of understand, but I just can't get there with that. Then the next thing becomes the side, where we see Phoenix push down to only +3 now after being +3.5. So a little bit of Phoenix money coming in as the afternoon rolls on here on the East Coast. I think if you just base your play off of what we saw in the previous series, you're on Phoenix. I would caution it a little bit, simply because Phoenix did get the benefit of not having Nafisa Collier out there for a game and a little bit over a game. So maybe it was made a little bit easier by her absence. But, you can certainly counter that with there is no way in heck. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. No way in heck the Las Vegas Aces should have been pushed to 5 games and overtime on their home floor in the game 5 to beat a crippled Indiana team. So, like I said, if you looked at the last series, you're all in on Phoenix. I think series-wise, I'm in on Phoenix. I think they can win the series. I find it from a series perspective, Ski. I wonder if Asia can withstand the physical nature that's going to be. Collier got beat up pretty good by Phoenix. Phoenix is not one to, not be physical. So 7-game series, it's a long time. And certainly they're going to be focused on Asia and try and let everybody else beat them. Hasn't worked the last 3 times, but I think it could work in a 7-game series. So out of all the plays available to us right now, heading into tonight, I think I like Phoenix to win the series the best.
Well, for a person like myself, I'm just chilling. I'm smiling.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
I got that
18 to 1 will do that for you.
18 to 1 on the Mercury. So, saying that out loud, I would think you got an 18 to 1 in your pocket, and it was like what, minus 120 or 130 or something for the Aces on the series. I mean, you could guarantee yourself at least a little profit. And I think that's what I'll end up doing. For a person like myself, I put 2 units on the Mercury to win the championship at plus 1,800. So that's what, 36 units. So if I was to do something like, for example, bet the Aces to win the series 4 units, if the Aces win, I would pick up 2. If the Mercury win, I would pick up a little bit over 30. And I think that's, with the ticket I currently have in my pocket, I think that's a good way to approach it. Just logic school, guarantee yourself some profit. Now outside of that, what we were saying here, yeah, I don't really agree with the total going up either, Ravino. This is the first time we'll see a 7-game series for one. And I think, it's going to a little bit more like filling out and just, they know it's not the end. It's not first to 2 wins. It's not first to 3 wins.
Right.
They got time to correct. So between that and really, I think that the Aces, I'm unsure because we have, like, I'll say, we always talk about the rest and rust, right? I mean, this is a huge one right here. Mercury, and we usually say when you get to that 4 days mark, it could become rusty. That's the Mercury. If at the 4 days off, the Aces, and this can go a couple of different ways. Like, they could be tired because that series was 5 games because they're coming off of an overtime game. They could also be more in rhythm than this Phoenix Mercury team. They didn't have to travel, and when I think about the side for this game, I'm a little bit more in line with, I think the Aces come out more in rhythm for this first one. And at the house too, LJ in the chat mentioned how good they've been in game 1s. He said they're 8-3 ATS since 2021 in game 1s. I do think they're the right side. But as far as the total, I disagree with the line move up. I think it's an under game. Anything else here, Ravino, before we keep going?
I would just, where game 1 is concerned, Ski, I think it's important to note that game 1 of each of the 2 Phoenix series, Satu Sabali has been a no-show. She's rebounded and played really well, or recovered. I don't mean rebound, going up for a rebound. She's rebounded and played really well in the remainder of the first two series, but game ones have been bad for her. And you wonder if that doesn't follow suit here. Maybe she corrects that here. But again, it's a lot of guesswork, right? Like you were saying, well, some of this is guesswork. I think just on a feel, from a field perspective, a handicapping field perspective, I would lean Las Vegas here at the low price in game one. I would be more in line with they probably have more rhythm going for them. And maybe Phoenix takes a game to get themselves right. But boy, when they get themselves right, they've been really good in these previous two series.
All right, good stuff. A lot of good stuff coming in from the chat as well. Dan N says WNBA Illuminati wanted to push 5 games for Fever fans. Think I saw Scott Foster with a wig on. That's a good one. That is a good one right there. All right, Vino, let's keep it going. We'll talk a little bit of today's college football, see what we can do in NFL. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have much going in this college football. I don't have very many opinions. So I know there's a few games that you have looked at. I'm gonna just open it up to you, Ravino, on Charlotte and South Florida. I know it's a 27.5 point spread, 56 point total. How are you looking at that one?
Yeah, I mean, the favorite side is tempting, Ski, but I always try to find a way around big numbers because you never know what happens late in games when you're laying 28. So for me, I like South Florida enough to play their first half team total, which was 22.5. It's a team that plays at rapid pace. It's a team that's off a bye week. They're certainly the better team than Charlotte. They've played the far better schedule. We've seen them beat top tier teams already this season. Charlotte comes in on a somewhat short work week and without their number one quarterback and without their number one running back. So Charlotte down 2 of their best offensive players. They have not been good offensively anyway. So to me, first half, even if South Florida is off a bye, and again, I could throw a little rest versus rust argument in there. Maybe South Florida takes a minute to heat up, but they are like the 9th fastest tempo team in the nation. There's going to be enough possessions in the first half, I think, and their defense could certainly, as good as it's been, help out in the scoring here. So for me, the safer route, rather than laying 16.5 first half and finding yourself on the good end of or on the short end of a 23-7 first half score, I'd rather play and trust South Florida's offense. Charlotte's defense has been miserable against the pass. And Byron Brown's a really good quarterback here. So South Florida first half team total over 22.5. And I'll just push it through here, Ski, really quick. Western Kentucky, Delaware. This game is totaled at 61.5. We know Western Kentucky's all air raid and nothing else. We also know Delaware stepping up from FCS. This is a conference game now, CUSA game. Delaware's been really good offensively. The thing they have in common is both, again, talk a lot about bad defenses. These are 2 bad defenses. And specifically, the matchups here aren't good for either side, especially the Delaware pass game against the Western Kentucky pass defense. It's a national spotlight for these 2 teams. Western Kentucky's been here before. They've been good in CUSA, and they've been on TV a lot last few years. They've made bowl games. Delaware has not. Real showcase game for them here tonight. I think this one gets over 61.5. It looks to me like it could hit a minimum 38-24, like 62 plus. So I played that. And then last but not least, interesting one here, Ski. New Mexico and San Jose State. Everything I just said about the game before is magnified by about 5 times in this one. Offense versus defensive matchup advantages are huge in this particular game. The problem with this one was, if you're going to bet it now, here's the problem with it. Game open 54. Totals, where totals are concerned, the key numbers 55, 56, 57, 58 have all been taken away from you now. And now you have to get to 59. If you're going to play the game, you lessen your bet. That's what I would recommend, because I still think they can get to 59 here. San Jose State's a team that gave up over 300 yards passing to Stanford last week, of all teams. So, and Stanford, San Jose State with their quarterback, Walker Egan, definitely throw first, and they can throw on New Mexico. The New Mexico uprising here this year, because nobody thought they were going to be any good. And I know that some people have actually pushed New Mexico higher in their power ratings or advanced them more than any other team in FBS football this year. That's how much above expectation they have played. They have a head coach who came from FCS Idaho, brought the quarterback with him, Jack Lane. And that combination, Jason Eck and Jack Lane, if you just go back to FCS last year, this was an offensive-minded team. And that's what New Mexico has become, especially through the air. 58.5 still seems too low. But again, I'd listen to the bet because they've already taken, we call it ass end of the line, right? It's key. It's what you're getting, but it doesn't mean it can't still pay you. You just got to be a little more careful with that game now.
Good stuff, Ravino. I like that middle game you talked about. I think I could roll with that one towards the over. But good stuff overall. I don't have anything to add. I think you covered it pretty well. NFL Week 5. It's a lot to look at here, Rob. You know how we usually do it. I just kind of go down the list, see what's sticking out to me. One was super obvious. I'm pretty sure the entire world is on it. We'll see if it covers. But the Lions, why don't I have any openers? Let me refresh this. The Lions and the Bengals. I mean, I could just repeat what I said last week. This Lions team, they're rolling offensively. Cincinnati, they're not going to be able to keep up with the quarterback situation that they have going. They can have all those skilled players, but they don't have people to get them the ball. It's not really going to matter. And that Bengals defense is just so bad. Detroit should be able to name their number. So if you got in early like me, it's awesome. I mean, to get a better number, I got -8. You're seeing 10 or 10.5 right now. But they should destroy Cincinnati unless they just completely overlook them. Any thoughts on that game, Ravino?
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of simplistic ski, but for the last 3 weeks, for me, actually not 3 weeks, because I didn't catch this play when Minnesota played Cincinnati. They started Carson Wentz that week, and I backed off, and I shouldn't have, but it's just one of those until further notice, fade the Cincinnati defense. I cashed a 5% play Monday night by playing the Denver team total over. Denver had done nothing offensively all season long. They faced Cincinnati. Bo Nix sets the world on fire. Sean Payton's a genius again. And, that's just how that goes. Play Cincinnati, and that's what happens to you. The Lions team total that's available out there is 29.5. I'd be hard-pressed to think that they can't get to 31 in this game against Cincinnati. So, again, that's just a mechanical knee-jerk reaction type play at this point, play against the Cincinnati defense. It gets no better. And like you said, Ski, about the quarterback play, if Jake Browning is actually contributing to the benefit of the other side's offense, you score even more. Look out, Aiden Hutchinson's coming for you, Jake Browning. So we'll see. But I think you have to play against the Cincinnati defense. I'd be on Detroit team total over 29.5. Get the mute.
Yeah, I agree with the team total over. And I said that I don't know what's going on. I might have to replace this light, whatever's going on right here. But let's talk about, I mean, you know who my team is, Ravino. Yeah. I always look at it when I see a minus next to that name. We're going to have to talk about it. And for this week, I mean, -3. Here's my problem. The Chargers, I'm worried about their schedule so far, who they played. Like, I should pull it up here. They played the Chiefs, and Worthy got injured like immediately. So, that throws a wrench in KC's entire game plan. So I don't know how much stock I'm putting into that for one. Who they beat? They beat the Raiders, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Beat the Broncos.
Beat the Broncos. I'm not high on the Broncos either. I mean,
right.
I'm just not really impressed with what I've seen from Chargers, is what I'm trying to say here. And now, not only is Rashawn Slater gone, he was gone in the preseason, but Joe Alt is gone. Those are two guys, like two of the premier, offensive line, like the premier blockers. Joe Alt really doesn't allow any pressures at all. So that's not a guy that you can just replace next man up. I'm sorry. I know some guys you can, but he's not one of them. And truly, I think they're missing 3 guys on the offensive line right now. So I've seen Herbert when he doesn't have enough protection. I've seen his Chargers team plenty of times. I know we have a new coach and all that stuff, but I just don't trust him when he doesn't have protection. I'm thinking about Washington's D-line, Ravino. I think that they should be able to get after Herbert, and you get Jaden Daniels back in the lineup over there. I mean, I just think they were fine without him, or they look cool without him. I just think they have a lot of good players over there. So, seeing Washington +3, I really want to fade the Chargers. Can you talk me off?
I can't, because the show I was on previous to coming on with you, Ski, I talked about this game as being a play for me, and it's the Washington side. I just, you hit it. It's the number one reason why I play Washington here is because, and you mentioned it, those 2 tackles aren't ordinary tackles. Rashawn Lader and John Alt, they're all pro tackles. I mean, it's like losing 4 offensive linemen when you lose those 2 guys. And now Mekhi Becton is hurt as well. He may play, but he's going to play banged up. And if you're LA, it hurts your running game. It hurts your pass protection. It allows Washington, in my estimation, it allows Washington to kind of crowd the line of scrimmage or have a lot of disguised pressures on Justin Herbert here. I don't know. It's going to be very, very tough. I'm sure Jim Harbaugh, we know it, he knows it, right? And they're devising some sort of game plan. But I don't know what kind of game plan you devise without those 2 guys in protection. We see great teams a la Kansas City in the Super Bowl. When Pat Mahomes didn't have protection, the 2 Super Bowls they lost, they got crushed because his best guys weren't out there keeping them upright. And it's kind of the same thing here with LA. I know that Washington's not the best defense of all, but having Jaden Daniels back is just huge. It forces the LA defense to have to do so much more just because of his dual threat. So +3. And I'm surprised, Ski, an hour ago, this was +2.5, and it went back up to +3. And so I don't know where the Charger money is coming from, but I certainly don't agree with it. I like the Washington side.
All right. We are in agreement on that one. There's one game I want to ask you about, and also another one that catches my attention. Which one should I do first, Robino?
The one that catches your attention.
All right. The Saints are favored. They're -2 this week, and they have been. I'll be nice. They've been not good. They've been not good. Rob,
I thought the A word was coming.
I was trying to be nice. They've not been good. So to see them favored here is just really sticking out to me. I know the Giants coming off of a win could be, what is it, how Marco calls, is it fat and sassy or whatever they say. They're satisfied with that win over the Chargers. And they're on the road here. And they have a divisional game on Thursday versus the Eagles. So maybe, they just overlooked the Saints. I know the Giants aren't that great, but maybe they are not really that paying attention that much to this game as much as they should be. And looking forward to Philadelphia. So maybe the Saints are the right side, Rob. Maybe they're favored for a reason. What do you think about it?
Well, I think the reason they're favored is obviously the Malik Neighbors situation, right? They lost him, I think, for the year now. And now the Giants are, having Jackson Dart come in and pull out a win is fine. But you immediately take their everything wide receiver away from them. And that just makes it harder on the Giants, a little bit easier on the Saints. And things need to be made easier for the Saints because defensively they've been bad. The other side of that coin is the Giant pass rush, which is really, really good. Could get after Spencer Rattler. But I feel like Spencer Rattler, Ski, has been certainly confronted with a lot of, defensive coordinators that have made life difficult on him. So I don't know that this one He may get sacked a couple of times here, 3 times, let's say. But I don't know that that's going to be a big difference maker in this game for New Orleans and for the Giants as well. It's a game on your schedule that you say, man, we can win that one. New Orleans does happen to be home. As you mentioned, Jackson Dart's first game on the road. Who knows? He did play at Ole Miss in that region, so maybe somewhat of a homecoming for him. But I don't know. I never trust first-time road starts at quarterback. You know what I mean? I think that New Orleans might be able to force him into a couple of mistakes. And the Giants, Cam Scatterboo has run it pretty good, but they're not necessarily a running team. So I don't know. Game plan-wise, if I'm New Orleans, stacked up to stop Scatterboo and say, Dart, go ahead without neighbors, try and beat me. And on the other side, I like Spencer Rattler enough. For what it's worth, the Saints a couple of times have hung around and been in games. I know they've been blown out, especially in Seattle, but they've hung around in a couple of these. So I don't see any reason why they can't really win this one. I think there's enough negatives for the Giants to go ahead and play the home team here.
Great. So we're seeing that one kind of the same. And I mean, I'm gonna use it here. I'm gonna do a little bit of, well, it's not venting, but just my opinion. A lot of people are happy and like what they've seen from Jackson Dart. I'm not getting carried away. I've seen him enough. You talked about Ole Miss. Yeah, you remember when their season was on the line, about 2 minutes left? Yeah, I need to see a little bit more from Jackson Dart besides just that one game. So not a fan. All right, Vino, I wanted to ask you about Denver and Philadelphia. Philly, your neck of the woods. Denver, your team. You talked about Denver and how they're able to beat up on the poor defenses, maybe struggle versus some of the better ones. Philly, one of the better ones, right? So you expecting the Broncos to struggle in this game?
I do. I mean, until you prove differently. Again, you go back to game 1 of last year when Bo Nix became the starting quarterback, drafted immediate starter, and you just go through all their games and you pull out the games where they played above average defenses and Denver was silent, offensively silent. And then you take the other half of their games. They had a pretty favorable schedule last year. You take those games where he played weak defenses and a reputation is built. I mean, heading into this year, there were people thinking Denver could overtake Kansas City in that division based on what Bo Nix and Sean Payton assumingly accomplished last year offensively. Come out this year, do nothing against Tennessee. Come out in your second game, do nothing. Third game, do nothing. Get a Cincinnati defense and blow them away. And now we see a line of 3.5. It's kind of what you've seen last, right, Ski? I think a lot of people, and myself included, Philly's 4-0, but it's not an overwhelming 4-0. Like they could have lost a couple of games along the way. So people are saying Philadelphia probably has overachieved. They see Denver off the Monday night, setting new records for Bo Nix passing yardage and whatnot, destroying Cincinnati. And we're faced with 3.5 here. I'm telling you, Denver's defense is elite for sure. But so is the Philly offense when it wants to be. And in my neck of the woods here in Philadelphia, they have come under such intense criticism offensively from the fan base, from the media, the A.J. Brown situation. We saw a couple of weeks ago when Philly was down 19-3 to the Rams. And then they came out in the second half and decided, okay, now we're going to start passing and we're going to come back. We're going to throw it. And what did they do? They won the game. A.J. Brown went crazy. So it's not that they can't do it. I think they probably do it here. I don't know that this is a good spot on a short work week for Denver, only getting 3.5. So for me, it would be Philadelphia. I would lay the price. This team total for the Broncos, I think they might find their way to 17. Their team total is 19.5. That might be a little high for them against this type of defense. But I really would prefer the side here. I think Philadelphia probably wins this game by, again, you have to win by 4 points at home with a team that's probably got a little chip on their shoulder with something to prove offensively. I wouldn't be surprised. A.J. Brown, Patrick Surtain, it's a nice matchup if that's the way it goes. But Philly's offense, I think, is going to move the ball here.
All right. Not a whole lot more I really want to talk about, but I'll just mention a couple. or maybe I'll mention this one actually. Um, Arizona and Tennessee. Arizona's defense seems pretty solid. They're missing a lot. I mean, they're not going to have a run game. They're missing James Conner. They're missing Trey Benson. And I don't really trust Kyler Murray, really. Tennessee's pass defense is good. Arizona doesn't have a run game. How is Arizona going to score enough to cover 7.5? Also, at the same time, I get that Tennessee's offense hasn't been great. Maybe under 42 is the look in that game. Those are my initial thoughts. How you feel? Or any thoughts from you?
Well, it's hard to bet Tennessee right now. Now, the one thing you could say about Tennessee is this is a step down in class for sure. Their 4 opponents, to be fair to them, are the Denver defense, the Rams defense, and in specific, the Rams defensive front, the Houston defense with their pass rush and their defensive capability, and then the Colts. And they lost all 4. They've been destroyed by 14 plus in the last 3, 8 plus in all of those. But they're better teams than Arizona, for sure. Arizona doesn't have the same capability on either side of the ball that those teams have. So, yeah, it's a step down in class. I just wonder if Cam Ward, he's made a couple comments, if he's not losing a little bit of faith in this team. This is a miserable point spread team, too. I think I saw a number, Ski, 6-22 or something crazy since Callahan became head coach. It's just not really good against the spread. And you're right, they're not doing enough offensively to feel secure backing them. So if I were to make a choice out of the 2 you gave right there, I would almost lean more towards under in that game, thinking Arizona might be able to hold Tennessee to 17. And, well, it would have to be less than 17 to get this under and have Arizona still cover. But that would be my initial look. I think there's better things on the board for me to try than hoping that Tennessee gets a cover. Of course, a really banged up San Francisco team covered with 8.5 last night, won outright. So it's the NFL. Who knows?
All right, I like that under. I do. That's really what's standing out to me at this moment.
Let's talk about the Chiefs.
Chiefs and Jags. I have no reason. Well, now you got to lay 3.5. Here's the thing: the Chiefs are the masters of winning and not covering. Like I never trust them in a point spread. Like it's so hard. I've seen it too many times, Ravino. Patrick Mahomes does just enough to win the game. So if I like Kansas City, I almost feel like I have to take a juice money line. And I know they need to win. I mean, you're gonna get they got Xavier Worthy back now. You're gonna get Rashee Rice. I mean, their season, they were playing like their season wasn't over after the first couple losses, and I think they, are going to continue to make a push. So I'm not a big fan of Jacksonville. I don't like their defense. Don't trust Trevor Lawrence. I think the Chiefs can win, but whenever I see something in the hook with the Chiefs, I hesitate to against the spread. I'll just say that. What do you think, Ravino?
Well, I really like. And it probably sets up for us pretty good here for a couple of weeks, maybe. But I always thought all along that Kansas City was just missing key components from that receiving group. And they were going to take off offensively. And they did take off against. Now, Baltimore's a banged up defense. I get it. But they scored at will. And they showed you what they can be with Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. Kelsey isn't even really contributing yet, but with those guys on the field and the threat, they went vertical more. They started running those fly sweeps more. Andy Reid's playbook wide open. To me, Jacksonville's 3-1 is as fraudulent as any 3-1 in the league so far. So I kind of zeroed in on this one, and I just want to play Kansas City's offense right now because I think their offense is severely underrated. People still don't think they're one of the top 3 teams in the AFC. I think once they get Rashee Rice back, they probably will win the AFC. So for me, it would be over 24.5 in this game for the Chiefs. I think they can get to 27. Again, I just don't find Jacksonville to be That's solid of a 3-1. And Trevon Walker, one of their best pass rushers, is out for this game. If Mahomes has time and they can dictate everything, they'll get to 27. So for me, right now, I'm interested in playing Kansas City team totals over because I think their offense is just going to get better and better as the season rolls on.
I like it. All right, Vino, it's about that time where we wrap it up here. Nothing to put up on the screen, but before we do the best bets, I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. If you have a best bet for the show, we would love to hear it. And if not, it's all good.
Let's just real quick promote the Weekend Warrior package going on at WagerTalk.com. Ski 3 days worth of football, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think you probably even get tonight from them included in the package. $49 regularly, $108 for those 3 days. You get it for $49. You get every football play released. I myself, I think I saw Gianni Detroit did post on X the NFL leaderboard right now at Wager Talk. I think I ranked second. It's been a good NFL season so far. I've talked about it a little bit on the show. So if you're interested in selection packages, once again, the Weekend Warrior is probably a good way to get going. 3 days for just $49. Best bet, I'll go to the college football ski that we talked about earlier in the show. And I'll leave the best bet as the South Florida first half team total over 22.5. You got to get to 23. Honestly, if things roll their way, they could get to 30 plus against this team tonight. So they've had a week off to get ready for this one. Certainly chomping at the bit after getting beaten by Miami of Florida. No shame there, but they've played a really hard schedule. And now they get one of the 10 worst teams in FBS football. So for me, South Florida team total over 22.5 first half. And before I finish up, one more happy birthday to Ski and I, and to the chat. We appreciate you guys, so we'll toast to you too.
Absolutely. Cheers to that. All right. Man, for myself, I mean, I do have a best bet on my page for the WNBA game 1. I've hit 10 out of 13 in the WNBA playoffs. That's my promo right there. As far as best bet, I haven't played anything else yet. So you guys know how I am. I don't like to give stuff I haven't necessarily played. But I do like that second game Robino talked about, the over in college football. And I'll just say this. I did bet the Lions -8. I know it's 10.5 now. Outside of that, I'm looking hard at that Arizona Tennessee under. It's lighting up on the screen and moving as we speak. It's still 42 out there, but I just want to double check what the opener was because the opener's not showing on this screen where it should. And I don't want to take the ass into the line. I feel like it might have moved a lot already. So I just want to double check that. And Saints look good. Yeah, that Washington looks good. A few things we talked about. I mean, I pretty much like them all. So just don't like to give a best bet that I haven't actually put in myself. So Vino, appreciate you taking the time to cap these games with us. Friday, so we'll be back again on Monday. We appreciate everybody in the chat as well. And man, it's time for me to get back to it, Robino. A lot of partying in the near future for me. So actually, I have one more show to do, and then I can start the party. So I'm gonna talk a little bit of more football. But for this show, we appreciate everybody. We'll be back again on Monday. Best of luck this weekend with your wagers.